What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show up on the air, your radio dials. Couple of those 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also up online, sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up there. You got your smart devices, the video streams up and rolling Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And then, of course, the Sports Talk app, Sports Talk 105.1 app. Take it on the go wherever you may be. Appreciate you making us part of your starts on this May 2nd. What do we got? What do we got on the good old game plan for us here this morning? Starting off with the crew, with the Brewers. They picked up a 7-1 victory yesterday. But before the game was even started, just like shortly before, it was announced that Pat Murphy suspended for 2 games, going back to the melee ejections, whatever we want to call it, from Tuesday's games. He was suspended, started serving it yesterday. So Ricky Weeks was the manager. Ricky Weeks will be the manager tomorrow as the Brewers travel to visit the Cubs. Freddie Peralta suspended 5 games, and Abner Uribe suspended 6 games. Just one Rays individual, Jose Siri, suspended 3 games. And there was undisclosed fines out there too. So so Murphy and Siri began serving their suspensions yesterday. And apparently, I just saw this too. Siri successfully appealed his suspension to have it reduced to 2 games. The Brewers said that Uribe and Peralta had also elected to appeal and that their suspensions were held in abeyance. Wow. Okay. I just saw that here, there. So, yeah, maybe they know more than what we did when we were talking about this yesterday. But, I mean, for me, Freddie Peralta, a little surprised. I know it's 5 games. It's not 5 starts, but he's going to miss a start. He's going to miss a start. And I still think it's a joke. I still think it's a joke that Freddie Peralta got suspended. I don't get it. I don't get it. So, but Brewers nonetheless get the 7-1 victory yesterday. Colin Ray was solid in his starts, giving another much needed pitching performance from a starting pitcher yesterday. He picked up his 3rd win to remain 3-0, 2.67 ERA on the season. You look at Colin Ray, he's definitely on the short list, I think, for one of the most surprising, positive players. We began the season not really knowing what to expect from Colin Ray. We saw him quite a bit last year for the first time, but I think he's off to a fantastic start. And, considering we didn't really know what kind of expectations to have on him, to be 3-0 with a 2.67 ERA, yesterday going 6 innings, no earned runs, striking out 5. I think he's off to a really, really fantastic start. Willie Adames also, 2 home runs for him, 4 RBIs for Willie Adames in the game yesterday, helping lead the crew to that 7-1 victory. So Brewers will have the off day today and then sets up a battle for first place in the Central starting tomorrow. 3 straight day games for the for the crew as they travel a little south to take on the Chicago Cubs. How about this for Willie Adames too? First Brewers player. You want a little fun nugget to begin your morning? Willie Adames is the first Brewers player since Tyler Saladino. Remember Tyler? Saw this name yesterday. I'm like, oh, it's only been 4 years, but it seems like it's been a while. But he is the first player since Saladino with consecutive games of 4 or more RBIs. The feat has now been accomplished 11 times in franchise history. And going back to Colin Ray, you want another nugget here? So we mentioned he's 3-0 and 6 starts this season. The Brewers overall 5-1 in his outings. 5-1. So We're going to talk some baseball, recapping this series. We'll do a little kind of an early look ahead to the weekend series with the Chicago Cubs coming up here too. Tonight also we've got Bucks back in action. Will they keep their season alive? Tip time scheduled for around 5:30. Yesterday's injury report. Anybody holding out hope for Giannis and Dame to be playing? Yesterday's injury report still listing them as doubtful for this game. So can the Bucks go into Indiana and pick up another win and try to extend this to a Game 7? Will they be able to do that? Anybody besides G-Man confident that the Bucks can do this? What are your keys to victory for that? What are the keys to victory for the Bucks tonight, assuming that they will not have Giannis and Damian Lillard in action tonight? Perhaps you could take a lot of the keys from Game 5. Middleton, Bobby Portis leading the way. Defense. I think there's quite a few keys we can have for this, but what are your, like, if you had to put together a list, like if this was a Football Friday, right? Usually on Football Fridays we do some keys to victory and such, key matchups. What are yours for the Bucks tonight? Can they get it done, and can they force a Game 7? So we'll talk that. We'll talk about that. Talk about some hoops and such. Also, should mention back to baseball, Twinnies for any Twins fans out there. 10 wins in a row now. 10 smackaroos. That's not the right word. 10 wins. We'll just keep it 10 wins in a row there for the Twinnies there. So, what else do we got in the docket? We got some outdoor tidbits coming up at 8:30 with Jake Bolks. Already got quite a few questions for Jake that were texted ahead of time. That's perfect, man. That is absolutely perfect. So, but if you have any questions, maybe ahead of the fishing opener this weekend, text those on over to our Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. So we'll get to that. We got a little receive or defer coming up at about, let's say 7:40, 7:45 on there too. So, and we might throw some other topics. Packers, by the way, if anybody was wondering, they do begin rookie orientation, rookie practice, whatever we want to call it, starting tomorrow. So that draft class and those undrafted free agents and some tryouts, they're going to be in on Friday. So if you've got any social, if you got like Twitter or the X or Facebook and such, you're going to be able to get a first glimpse at some of the newest Packers over there. So who's like the most intriguing? Not maybe the best rookie or who you think is, going to have the most immediate impact right away. But who do you think is the most intriguing Packers rookie of this class? Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be the rookie that you think is going to be the biggest impact right away, or you think that is going to be the best rookie. But like the most intriguing, maybe in terms of like how you think the Packers are going to utilize them, or how you're curious how they're going to utilize them, how they're going to play them, how much playing time are they going to make a team? Because I feel like Kalen King is that guy that's getting a lot of that attention. Jaden Reed, now his teammate, said, when he was drafted, tweeted out, said he's not a 7th rounder. Sauce Gardner saying the same thing. Kind of saying the same thing. So I think King is that guy that a lot of people are kind of intrigued with. But hey, if you got somebody else, let me know. All right, hit me up with that text or comment on the video stream, whatever floats your boats or whatever is easier for you out there. So, all right, let's get things rolling here this morning. Coming up on the leadoff, we'll talk some Brewers. We're going to talk some Bucks as well. Brewers picking up a win yesterday. But as we mentioned, they did it without their manager. Pat Murphy suspended. They did it without one of their top relief pitchers, Abner Uribe, who's going to be out for a few more games. Freddie Peralta wasn't going to pitch yesterday anyways, but looks like he may miss the starts. All those guys suspended from what happened on Tuesday's game. But Brewers getting it done thanks to Colin Ray with another solid start. You've got Brian Hudson, who's having a fantastic season so far. 12 games for the Brewers, 2-0, .52 ERA. He's already got 19 strikeouts, struck out a couple more yesterday, getting the hold for the Crew. And then Willy Adames, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, back-to-back games of, those 4+ RBIs. So Willy Adames, you're looking at his numbers right now on the season, 278, 6 home runs, 21 RBIs. Putting up better numbers so far than what he was doing last year. So, but let's talk some Brewers, and then give me your keys to victory. What's anybody willing to make a prediction that besides G-Man, we know who G-Man's gonna pick tonight. No offense, G-Man, we know who you're gonna pick tonight, man. But is anybody else realistically thinking that that the Bucks can go into Indiana and pick up another win and force a Game 7? And let's assume that Giannis and Dame will not be playing tonight, since they are listed as doubtful on the practice report. What are the keys to victory for the Bucks to get that win tonight? All right. Text me, tweet, Facebook, YouTube, video stream, whatever you want to get in at, let us know. Let's take that first break. We'll get things rolling here. Mix it up. Talk a little Brewers and Bucks to open it up here. All right. Let's hear from you. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We're getting set for another busy travel season. You got vacations, taking our kiddos to all their games and activities and events. And, you need a proper vehicle to get to where you're going and safely. That's where Toyson Ford can help you out. Toyson Ford will go the extra mile to provide you with compelling options for new and used car shopping. They will gladly work with you on financing, no matter what your budget may be. They're committed to giving drivers across the Chippewa Valley the best in customer service. Check them out for yourself. Just visit Toyson Ford today at 1000 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard in Chippewa Falls and visit them online, toysonford.net. Toyson Ford, where you will find a friend. Also, too, don't forget with the fishing opener coming up this weekend, got turkey season that's still going on as well. If you're having any luck, or maybe you're just having some fun in the outdoors and you got a cool photo that you snapped on your phone or something like that, and you want to share it to the rest of us, send them on over so we can put it up on the Tilden Gun trophy board, or trophy gallery, excuse me, up at our website at sportstalk1051.com. All right, you can go to sportstalk1051.com, click on that outdoors tab, and you can check out all the photos that we've got listed up there already. But hey, just send me a photo that we could put up there, and little brag board, right? It's a little brag board up there. So best of luck. Anybody going maybe hitting the waters this weekend for the opener? Best of luck for anybody who's still continuing to go turkey hunting and such. Be safe out there, and don't forget to send us your photos. And if you need any, for any supplies or any hunting firearm needs, make sure you go check out our good friends from Tilden Gun. Check out their website, tildengun.com. You can also visit their sweet shop. If you haven't been to their shop, it's pretty sweet over there. Love the decor and such. But they're located at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls. Sean and Hunter, fantastic people over there too. So, all right, Surveyor's on record. He's got the Bucks picking up a win tonight. If the Bucks use the shot clock and slow the game down, they got a good chance. If they get in a shootout, they're screwed. Bucks 115, Pacers 108. As we know, G-Man chiming in. Way to go, Brewers. Took the series, and when we go play the Cubs, the Brewers will win the series. Tonight, the Bucks will win 119-114. Fear the deer. So we'll get to some Bucks chat coming up here in just a skosh. All right. We'll lead things off, though, talking some Brewers, as the Brewers picking up a win yesterday, 7-1 against the Tampa Bay Rays to win their series against the Rays. Colin Ray with a solid start again. He is now undefeated on the season, 3-0. Yesterday, he went 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and a couple of walks. Brian Hudson also pitching an inning, continuing his fantastic season. In 12 games pitched, he's just got a .52 ERA right now for the Crew. Willie Adames with 2 home runs as well for the Crew yesterday. He's up to 6 home runs so far on the season. Back to Hudson here really quick. He has pitched 17 and a third, 19 strikeouts, .52 ERA. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, too, Willie Adames is the first Brewers player since Tyler Saladino in 2019 with consecutive games of 4 or more RBIs. And another nugget here for you, Colin Ray, as we said, is 3-0 with a 2.67 ERA, but in his 6 starts, the Brewers are 5-1 in all of his outings. So Brewers currently remaining in first place in the division. Off day today before they take on the Cubs, which will be for first place. But as we know, they will be without Pat Murphy for that first game against the Cubs, serving that 2-game suspension, served the first game yesterday. So Ricky Weeks managed yesterday. Ricky Weeks will manage on Friday. Freddie Peralta with a 5-game suspension, and then Abner Uribe with a 6-game suspension going back to the ejections from Tuesday. So no Pat Murphy versus Craig Counsell on Friday. No storyline there, but it'll be Ricky Weeks going up against his former double play teammate, Craig Counsell, if that's the storyline you kind of want to run with. But apparently these wins and losses don't go under Ricky Weeks. They do go under Pat Murphy's record. That was said during the broadcast yesterday. So, but 7-1 victory yesterday for the Brewers, and they're probably glad to escape maybe Milwaukee and that umpiring crew that was down there the last few days for Milwaukee. So, fashionably late as always. Intern in this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good. I was checking the book on the Kentucky Derby. That's Derby Saturday, but
did you find out any of the horses yet?
Oh, you bet.
Okay, well, a couple weeks ago you said you didn't know any of them.
No,
so.
but a couple weeks ago it wasn't race time.
So you actually did some homework. How about that?
Absolutely. But it's hard. It's hard. It's kind of like the Friday night fights. I remember when I was a kid on Friday night, it used to be Gillette Blue Blades, the Friday night fights. And boy, I'm telling you, what they get down there in Milwaukee has been kind of fun to watch. I wonder if these umpires are ever disciplined. You never hear about umpires being suspended. I mean, they missed the call with the Yankees
Aaron
Judge's slide. I mean, it's, I watched the replay of the Cubs game when they won 1-0 through the guy at home plate. The umpires missed that call as well.
You mean the first game against the Rays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Not the Cubs.
Well, no, the Cubs game. The Cubs.
Oh, I thought you were talking.
No.
Okay. Because that happened with the Brewers too.
Yeah,
so.
I know, but I wonder if any of these umpires get suspended because some of these calls have been, it makes you think: do we need to go? They're going to the tape, but the tapes, it has to be decisive. Well, I looked at that tape in the Cubs game, and that guy was home before he was tagged. I don't know, Pete Alonso, but anyway.
Now I know which one you're talking. Yeah, because they released a statement and all that too. So.
When they suspend all these players and managers, what about the umpires? They're not 100% correct all the time either.
Yeah.
I wonder if the umpires ever watch the tape after a game and say, "Oh boy,
they do." Because even after the judge won, the umpires in the pool report admitted they got it wrong after they watched the tape. In the pool report to reporters after that game, they said after they watched it, because it's not a reviewable call, but after they watched it, they admitted that they got it wrong.
Why is that not a reviewable call? If something happens between the lines, it should all be reviewable, shouldn't it? I don't know how.
I'm the wrong person has that.
No, I know that, but we're just rhetorical questions here. But seriously, it happened between the lines. If you can have a replay of whether or not the guy's safe at second base, why can't you review that? That's interference.
It's probably the same for football. Not every play is reviewable over there too. So got to have the human element still involved in it. That's the argument for a lot of people.
And I want to keep the human, but it's got to be all or nothing. If you can review one call, you should be able to review them all. And many times it shows that the human eye was right on the first call, especially these calls at first base. I admire these umpires that make these calls at first base. These are bang, bang plays, whether the guy's out or not. And 99% of the time they're right. And I say, he made it. And then you look at it, nope, by golly, he got it right. So, but some of these things, I just think the umpires should be chastised a little bit too.
Well, I want to know more about the Freddie Peralta one over there.
I don't understand that one.
And I get it. It's 5 games, not 5 starts for Freddie Peralta. But, I mean, that's one start for Freddie Peralta, which still, to me, he doesn't even deserve one start to be suspended from Tuesday's actions over there. Like, that's a judgment call from the umpiring crew and if you watch the video, you can hear the umpire, you can see the umpire mouth to Freddie, you hit him on purpose. And no warnings, beforehand or nothing like that, which is where I think Pat Murphy got really upset about. It was just, if you listen to Rock and I mean, every telecaster, like, you can't throw out a guy without, warnings like that. There was even the umpire after the game in the pool report said, they didn't see anything leading up to it. There was nothing that they noticed, any tension or anything. Well, then if there was nothing leading up to it, why the quick hook after that? I don't understand that.
Yeah, good question. If there's, there was no tension before that, how can that umpire say that pitch? I don't know. I didn't see it, so I don't know if he threw at him on purpose or not. And I don't know if Peralta's ever commented, but how can an umpire make that decision?
Well, I mean, Brewers were up. It was a 3-0 count, and he was only at 66 pitches. I highly doubt Freddie Peralta was throwing at him on purpose.
Well, that's what I thought, too. I saw the replay, but I didn't see the whole context of what was going on in the game. You know, when you just see the replay, you don't see the plays before that or innings before that or what might have led to him throwing at this guy. But I think, too, that the umpire, again, that's another case of an umpire injecting himself into the storyline. And umpires, referees, they always say they don't want to be part of the storyline. But when you do something like that, you're going to be part of the storyline.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Siri hit a home run off of Peralta earlier in the game, but that there wasn't anything. I mean, he posed a little bit, but we've seen a whole lot worse from that.
Well, if it's why would you do it at 3-0?
Right. And especially when you're only at 66 pitches.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You know, you do it right away. I'd buzz him right away when he stepped in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not when it's 3-0.
Right. Yeah. It didn't make any sense. So, Pat began his suspension yesterday. Siri began from the Rays. He was suspended 3, but he appealed it. Apparently, it already got reduced to 2.
Every time you appeal them, it gets reduced. Every time.
So Uribe and Peralta have also elected to appeal, and that their suspensions were held in abeyance. That's why Uribe was able to pitch yesterday. Freddie wants to be able to pitch on Sunday against the Cubs, so I guess it still could be reduced or even taken away, which to me, the one that I don't understand, like Siri and Uribe, yeah, they got into a little scuffle, throwing slap punches and all that. That I understand. I still don't get why Freddie should be even suspended at this point.
I don't know why 5 games. That is way too many. Like, whoever makes that decision in the Major League Baseball office must be a Cubs fan.
Well, they do that for pitchers because then it's 1 start. So, like yesterday, they counted it as a game.
You're suspending 1 start.
Right.
5 games.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
No, I agree. They make it. You got to read between the lines for that stupid thing there. So, but I guess maybe some staffs could go with a little bit of I don't know. Loophole,
but be that as it may, this is a team that you better be ready for a roller coaster season. I mean, you look at, all of a sudden the Yankees come in, they score 30 runs in 2 games. You think, oh man, this team is going in the tank. Then they come back and they're winning again. So this is going to be one of those years where you're going to be excited, and then you're going to get frustrated, and then they'll have fun again watching them, and then they'll go into a little tailspin. It's going to be an interesting year, and it's going to test your patience as a Brewers fan, no question about it.
Well, I think, too, Brewers are kind of living up to or embracing it maybe a little bit with the reputation that they're a fiery bunch. with those guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
started off opening day with Rhys Hoskins, right?
Yep.
And it started off there, and we've seen other points that the look, the natural gaze of Pat Murphy. I don't know if I'd want to get into an argument with him. He looks like somebody I probably wouldn't win an argument with.
Well,
too many times.
You look at Irishmen.
Yeah.
And they're very jovial and outgoing and friendly and love of life, but don't cross them.
Yeah.
They got an attitude. It's the Irish heritage, no question about it.
Yeah. I don't think I'd win a whole lot with him. Well, I think the other two, not to keep rehashing this, but the other night when Murphy got ejected and such, there's a lot of criticism with that umpire. I mean, the umpire was going after Murphy too.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah, so we see managers that they want to get that last word in, right? They want to keep going, but the umpire was giving it right back, and even he was getting in the face of Murphy too, and I'm like, okay, if you're suspending the manager for that, where is that repercussion for an umpire? Because let's face it, when you got 2 dudes who are arguing as bad as they were, yeah, it's gonna escalate a little bit more, right?
Well,
you egg on the other person.
Well, in that situation, the umpire is going to have the final say. He's going to have the upper hand. That's the way it's structured.
Mm-hmm.
As a manager, you're criticizing that umpire, but the umpire's got the final say, how much he's going to take. And I don't know what Murphy said, if he had some creative language in there besides complaining about the call and how he complained, but again, the umpire, you always hear the umpires don't want to get in confrontations. They'll defend themselves, which they should. I don't blame them for doing that. But, where is the cutoff point?
Right.
And how much do you inject yourself into that game? Like I said, I didn't see that, But umpires, you always hear umpires, officials, referees, whatever they want to be, they don't even want to be part of the picture. They want to be seen and not heard, and they don't want to have any impact on the game. And that's why you'll see it like at the end of a basketball game. These guys will pound on each other and they won't call it. They don't want to be the one that makes that call. But when you do make that call, you want to stand up for your call, but how far are you going to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish there was a mic on.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be fun to hear what was actually said between those two?
Right. Exactly. So I don't think there's any love lost, and chances are that Brewers will be going up against that umpiring crew again. If
oh,
that's
absolutely,
the wish,
no question about it. And hopefully, like elephants, they forget real easily, real fast. You can't hold a grudge if you're an umpire and you hold a grudge, or players can't hold grudges against umpires either. I mean, they're all human; they all make mistakes, but you got to go on with the season. So if there's any repercussions either way, that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a really good article up on Brewers.com. I'm not going to read the whole thing, not story time here or anything, but since we're talking about Pat Murphy and just kind of, his philosophy and his mindset. The title is Murphy's Relentless Attitude, Infectious for the Self-Coined, quote, Average Joes. There's an interesting quote here for Pat Murphy. The daily grind of a baseball season comes down to one number in particular, 200, as in the 200 Club, a phrase he and Harvey Dorfman, the legendary sports psychologist, coined roughly 2 decades ago. Coming up with the 200 Club involves a little bit of mental math, assigning a numerical value, A being 1, Z being 26, to each letter of a choice model of Murphy's that starts with the word that is not exactly fit to print and ends with the word relentless. You can do the math, but the bottom line, both words together add up to 200. So just kind of do the math with a word we can't say on the air and all that too. Murphy's saying, can you stay in the present for every pitch? Doesn't matter what happened last pitch, next pitch, what the score is, where you're hitting on the order. Can you stay in the present for this pitch? Offense, defense, on the bench, whatever. That's the kind of mantra I go by. Listening to Murphy talk about the 200 Club, it's clear why the Brewers believed he was the right guy to take over after Craig Counsell. His passion and energy are infectious, and his relentless approach has proven to be the perfect match for a Brewers club that has already faced its share of adversity this season.
And I think they looked at him, how he handles young players. I mean, if you're going to manage the Dodgers or the Houston Astros or something like that, you don't necessarily want a guy that can handle young kids, because they don't have young kids on those rosters. They've got seasoned pros. But the Brewers have so many young players. How do you get their attention? How do you communicate with them and encourage them and get them on the right track? And I think Murphy's probably the guy for that. I mean, Dusty Baker, he's a calming hand, and he was for the Houston Astros. They had veteran players. But these guys have to be nurtured and brought along and really taught the game, because it's different at the major league level than even the minor leagues or semi-pro ball. It's an intense game, and a guy like that, I'm sure they figured was the right guy to bring along. Not every manager can manage these different teams depending on their skill, the number of veterans they have, this, that, and the other thing. So some managers are brought on to manage a pitching staff. Well, he doesn't have much of a pitching staff to start with, so he's got to, tweak it, manage it, however you want to do it. But when you're talking about seasoned veterans, if you got, a Verlander and some of those other guys, you treat them different than you would some of the, Colin Ray or somebody like that. So I think they got the right guy.
No, I mean, look at how
the
Astros have started the season with a new manager.
Yeah.
Compared to the last couple of years.
Struggling a little bit.
This was from Matt Arnold, general manager. Every team that I've been a part of takes on the personality of the manager. Murph is certainly fiery, and I think he said this with a laugh. I think that you see that with how many times we've cleared the benches this year. He's a competitor at heart. That's his brand. That's infused into our clubhouse and how we play the game. So,
yeah, I think with these young kids, you've got to keep them excited. You got to keep them intense, rather than some of the veterans. They'll come back and just go back and sit on the bench. But these young guys, they got to stay energized, and he sounds like and looks like so far he's got to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I think from the early goings here, team has bought into that mindset, right?
Absolutely, and I'm encouraged that they're doing it basically without Christian Yelich. As hot a start as he had and as good as he was playing, I thought, oh, this team is going to be better than I thought. But now with him out, they're still playing better than I thought.
Yeah, him out.
In spite of the, a couple of the debacles against the Yankees and whatever else it may be. They didn't, I was worried that, oh boy, this is going to really take the wind out of their sails. But being young, they're very, they're very flexible. And, we've all been in games where we've been on the wrong side of a lopsided score. It's how you react. And these guys seem to be reacting very well.
I kind of used the phrase during the Packer season, they're too young to know any better.
Good phrase, you bet.
Is that, no Yelich, but also remember still no Devin Williams now, no more Wade Miley. You look at the pitching, it's pretty remarkable the position that they're in right now.
Yeah. The Wade Miley thing really makes me scratch my head. This early in the season when they re-signed him, there was no indication that there was weakness or a flaw in that arm. And all of a sudden it just popped up. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one. Maybe a good question to ask Dr. Crow. How, if there weren't indications that this was one of his problems, because he always couldn't pitch very many innings, questionable whether he can make that start. And all of a sudden he's got to have Tommy John surgery. Now it seems to me that should have been something that they could have, and I'm not a doctor, but from watching it this early in the season, now if this would have happened in August, then I'd say, oh boy, he pitched a lot of ball and came up. But it's April, just getting into May.
Sometimes that it happens in spring training to a lot of guys. So Tommy John surgery, pops up. So just one of those.
And I don't know if
things.
It's not detectable if they, I don't know, go about it, but it's just frustrating to lose him in April. We lost him in April, really, because he was one of those pitchers that was filling a nice hole.
Mm-hmm.
You get 3, 4, 5 innings out of him, good innings out of him about every start. That goes a long way to winning a game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be hurt. It's going to hurt to lose him.
Yeah. So but guys have been stepping up big time. That's for sure. Right now.
They have been.
Willie Adames is one of those guys as of late here too. So.
What is the update on Darren Williams?
Devin Williams, June still.
June.
Yep.
Is he doing anything? Is he lobbing or?
I haven't seen that. I just know the Brewers kind of did a little bit of an update because they had a lot of guys injured, and it's still expected to be around June. It said so,
and Murphy should get even more credit with all these guys hurt.
Yeah,
but he's got these guys in the fight.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely 100%. So especially when you got bullpen starts and now you're stretching out bullpen arms to be starters and all that. So absolutely. And Colin Ray, the guy has had for a guy we didn't know about at all last year, thrown in because of injuries, still didn't know what to expect from him this year. He's off to a really good start this year.
He is. And every time I turn the game on, I see a pitcher and who's this guy? I don't know, this big, tall, left-handed kid that was pitching yesterday. Where'd he come from? And he's pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where they're coming up with him, but
Hudson,
the kids are coming up and doing their jobs.
Yeah, Brian Hudson, 17 1/3 innings pitched in 12 games and 2-0, 0.52 ERA right now.
Awfully good.
Yep. So, all right, off day though today, much needed off day for the crew just to kind of rest up and
go to Wrigley
relax
tomorrow.
And Wrigley tomorrow. 3 straight day games down in Wrigley Field. So. But again, it'll be Ricky Weeks versus Craig Counsell for game 1. So, hey, Ricky, that to me is the weird one. I heard it on the telecast or broadcast, yesterday, that apparently the wins and losses don't go to Ricky Weeks. They still go to Pat Murphy, which would have been nice if, it would have been cool. Ricky Weeks is 1-0 right now as a manager. I'm sure he's still got a game ball or something like that. I would hope. But
absolutely.
Yeah. But, when you got your shortstop that jacks a couple home runs and Colin Ray goes out there with a really good start, that's probably got to settle some of the nerves. Here's the weird thing. He said he didn't find out till 20 minutes before the game that he was managing.
Well, that's
against
probably
the
easier on him.
right. He's like, he said it didn't phase him or anything like that. But yeah, you don't have time to overthink it at that point.
No, well, he's been in the game so long, and he's been in the dugout. He knows this team. He's been around this team long enough, and I don't know. Does Murphy? Well, Murphy will be back on Saturday, right?
Saturday, yep.
So I'm sure he's traveling with the team.
Yeah,
He'll probably spend he'll probably spend the first game out at Ray's bleacher bar out in center field out there.
right. Oh, all right. Let's take a quick break here. We'll close up the first hour. Bucks are also back in action tonight, looking to keep their season alive. Game 6 against the Indiana Pacers. Tip time around 5:30. What are your keys to victory? We'll hit that up coming up a little bit later on. This is the time of year we start to get a little bit more active, whether it's playing in a weekend ball tournament or maybe doing some projects around the home or the yard. Our bodies are starting to move a bit more. And that may also be your reminder about your achy joints, or maybe you got a little bit banged up rounding the bases last weekend. Whatever the case may be, you don't have to live with that pain. Just visit Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and let the team there help you get back on the field of play or back to doing your home projects. Whether it's a knee, shoulder, or any other orthopedic issue, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine will help you live that pain-free life. Just visit cvosm.com to get started. James, thanks for reminding me too, James. So yesterday too in the game, Vieira, the pitcher for the Brewers, actually had to umpires made him switch his glove, and which got the chuckles because he pitched with the same glove the night prior. And so people were questioning, like, okay, why could he pitch with that glove the night prior? But then the umpires made him switch it out yesterday. So James asked, can you explain the whole we don't like the color of your glove situation with the Brewers? So there is a rule in Major League Baseball that says the pitcher's glove may not, exclusive of the piping, be white, gray, nor in the judgment of an umpire distracting in any manner. So his glove is actually like a light blue and it's got gray on there. So maybe the Rays filed a complaint, the day prior. One of the theories out there is like, well, you can't see the glove, so it's because it's really close to the Brewers uniform, matching color wise, so you can't see the glove and all that. But there are rules with the colors on there with gloves. So it is weird that he pitched with it the night before and couldn't do it with this one. But again, it could be something maybe the Rays threw in a complaint or a little heads up for the next game.
Oh, so. Gamesmanship. You bet.
Yeah. Yep. So there are definitely rules when it comes to the colors out there. So, yeah, I was reading here too. It says his off-white webbing color, which blends in well with the Brewers' home jerseys. That could have been a reason why they said, get it out of there. So, but, gamesmanship at its finest, as you said. So, it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that's happened. But
I know there's a lot of things to talk about, but I was reading or hearing something about ratings for TV sporting events, and I did not realize until I heard this, and I don't remember where it was, about the ratings that the NCAA women's basketball tournament with Caitlin Clark got compared to other major sports. I mean, you're talking NFL games, you're talking every postseason NBA playoff game, just dwarf golf.
Yeah,
dwarfs that.
We mentioned it a couple weeks ago when it came out. I'll see if I have it saved from back then. But yeah,
it was shocking difference in viewership watching Caitlin Clark in women's basketball in the college game. Now, whether that'll continue without Caitlin Clark in the future remains to be seen. But what a phenomenon! It just shows you what a phenomenon she has been and how she's going to turn that into hopefully more viewership for the WNBA, because if she signed a contract for $73,000, that's cheating her. I mean, that just shows you the inequity in men and women's salaries. And I know basketball is a different entity than if you're a computer programmer or something like that, but still in all, to have that kind of viewership increase, literally dwarfing some of these other, what we consider major sporting events.
Well, there's got to be more sponsors willing to go to WNBA, and more fans buying tickets and such. So, yeah, this was back from April 2nd after Iowa beat LSU. Their viewers had more than the 2023 NBA Finals, 2023 World Series, 2023 Orange Bowl, Big Ten Championship, Cotton Bowl, Pac-12 Championship, Big 12 Championship, ACC Championship, Peach Bowl, any Thursday night football game, and every college football regular season game except Ohio State and Michigan.
And they didn't talk golf, but it dwarfed golf tournament viewership as well. I mean, even like the Masters and past golf tournaments. So this was a phenomenon, like obviously we've never seen before. Whether we'll ever see it again remains to be seen. I kind of doubt it, but that says something. It put women's basketball on the map.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so we got just a couple minutes left here. We're going to talk some Bucks coming up next hour. Bucks are back in action tonight. Game 6, hoping to keep their season alive. Series moves back to Indiana tonight. Tip time is going to be around 5:30 tonight, so a little bit of an earlier game. Won't have to be too late. Don't have to stay up too late to watch it and such. So, as of yesterday, the injury report still lists Giannis and Dame as doubtful for the game tonight. So we'll see. Right now, it sure seems like they're not going to play, even though Doc Rivers did say the other day that they are very, 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 that is three varies, very close to returning. Whether that changes today or not, I don't know. I know photos they were on the plane to travel with, but that doesn't really mean anything at this point. So, but we'll talk some Bucks coming up next hour. Don't forget too, we got Jake Bolks coming up for Outdoor Tidbits. A few of you already texting and questions, so big thanks for that. Have the opening fishing season this weekend, so if you want to ask Jake, our DNR warden buddy, any friends or any questions leading up to that, text it to us at that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. And thank you. I already got a couple emails too for some photos to put up on the trophy gallery on our website at sportstalk1051.com. So we'll put those up a little bit later on. Also, receiver defer coming up next hour. So if you want to play along with us, if you got any good receiver defer questions out there, you can let us know too. Hit us up with those, and we'll throw them into the equation when we get to that in about 40 minutes or so. So, shot clock's going to cut us off here in about 10 seconds or so. So, we'll kick off the next hour talking some Bucks. Bucks, will they get it done tonight? Can they get it done like they did in Game 5 without Giannis and Dame? Does Middleton have another fantastic playoff game in store for him tonight? Bobby Portis, can he do what he did in Game 5 as well? We'll hit it all up coming up after these quick words. Here we go. Second hour kicking off on this Thursday morning, May 2nd. Spent the first hour talking baseball, talking Brewers. Off day today for the crew before they head down south to take on the Cubbies in Wrigley Field. So we'll preview that a little bit more, probably coming up to tomorrow and such. We got some receiver defer coming up at the back end of this hour at about 7:40 or so. If you got any questions for receiver defer, you want to submit any, you can do that. Just hit us up with a text or comment on the video stream there. Bucks will be back in action tonight, looking to extend their season. Game 6 against the Indiana Pacers tonight, 5:30. Still no official word about Giannis and Dame. However, yesterday's injury report still listed them as doubtful. Bucks really not doing anything. They hopped the plane and headed over to Indiana, or Indianapolis, excuse me, yesterday. But nothing official, even though Doc said a couple days ago that they were very, very, very close. So I am going to operate under the assumption that they will not play tonight. So if they do not play tonight, will they win? What are your keys to victory for the Milwaukee Bucks tonight in Indiana? How about you, sir? How confident are you right now with the Bucks going to Indiana and picking up a win?
Well, it's uplifting to see them come out and really give it their all, beating Indiana the last game. But that NBA is so different. I mean, one game to the next. I'm rooting for the Bucks, but I don't think they can win down there in Indianapolis. Halliburton had 16 points tonight. He might have 46. So I don't know. But I got to give Chris Middleton credit. He's fighting, and Bobby Portis, I think, has got his head screwed on straight again after getting thrown out there in an earlier game. And I think they've got talent there. Beasley, I think they're spreading it around, and some of these guys are contributing more than they do when Lillard and Giannis are in the lineup. But it's a big hill to climb against Indiana down in Indianapolis, and I just can't pick them to win.
I know I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but we got to tip our cap to Chris Middleton for the playoff series he's been having.
Yep.
So far here. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's nearly and he's a little bit banged up too, remember?
Oh, he is.
He's nearly averaging 40 minutes per game, 28 points per game, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he's shouldering the load right now, and he's doing a really good job at it.
And I think, like they did the other night, you got to take the game to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana, the first 3 or 4 games, they had their way with the Bucks pretty much. They were pressing them hard on defense and, taking them to the hole on offense. And the Bucks kind of, puffed up their chests in this last game and said, wait a minute here. We know how to play this game too. And if they can continue to do that, Indiana's a young team. They could get kind of frustrated, and who knows. But if Indiana comes out tonight and takes over the game physically, I don't think the Bucks are going to have much choice. So I think it's going to be very important for the Bucks to come out and really force of will against Indiana.
Don't let Indiana dictate it, right?
Exactly.
And Doc called it. I think, was it after game 1, game 2, or something like that? He kind of said, Indiana's that one team that they'll try to get under your skin, get in your head, game by game. Kind of saw the Bobby Portis getting ejected as that prime example. Got something just set him off, and he ended up getting ejected in that game. And Doc was right, and that's what they can't. And even in the prior game, Patrick Beverley getting shoved a little bit and such. Bucks can't let that the emotions get to them.
They got to turn the tables,
and they're the veteran team. They shouldn't be able.
Exactly. That they should turn the tables on Indiana and do that. Teach them what playoff basketball is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they do that, then they've got a chance to win another game and bring it home for game 7. And I just can't be optimistic that even if they do that Giannis and or Damian Lillard would play.
And I'm still of the belief, if there is still a risk of either one of those guys, like a high risk of either one of those guys getting hurt where it would affect them next year, you don't play them.
Oh, absolutely not.
You don't play them. Like I just the Achilles part of it makes me nervous.
Oh, that you lose an Achilles or rip that Achilles, and you got some real rehab to do.
Right. I keep flashbacking to Kevin Durant a few years ago
Mm-hmm.
when he was dealing with a calf issue. He goes out there and plays, and what happened? Tore his Achilles.
And you could see when he was playing, when he did come back to play in that game, he was hesitant to move and he was kind of protecting that leg, and he did make a wrong move, and that's all it took.
So I don't want to, because I mean, if one of those guys, I hate to say this, but if they go out there and play and they suffer a major injury, next year is already kind of a downer.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
You know,
it would be.
It stinks to think that way, but it is. So if the Bucks were to win tonight, Game 7's already tomorrow. It's coming up on so it's
it's
back
going
to
to be
back.
tomorrow. Wow, that is a fast turnaround if they win.
Because they, I know the NBA already said, regardless of what happens, Game 6 is their first round game, or the second round. First Game 1 is already going to be on Monday, regardless. So they said that regardless what happens in Game 6, it's starting on Monday right away. So they got a back to back if the Bucks do win.
Well,
tonight,
it's not,
so.
it's only an hour flight from Milwaukee to Indianapolis.
Right.
It's not like they're going across the country.
And I mean, they've been doing it all season long, right?
Yeah,
Back to back
exactly.
games and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I think you kind of have to have a similar game plan to what you had in Game 5. I mean, Bucks came out second quarter, really slowed them down, shut them down, but they didn't let up. Third quarter, they came out and did the same exact thing in Game 5, and just kind of, they didn't let up in that. And I think it's interesting too. I know I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but even in that Game 5, as short of a bench as they had, Jay Crowder did not play a minute.
He didn't.
Didn't play a single minute. You look at the playoffs, he's only been averaging about 10 minutes.
He's got to have an attitude problem because he didn't. Where he came from
Phoenix.
He didn't play. When he did play, he played pretty good. But all of a sudden, he wasn't playing there. The injury of some kind comes to Milwaukee, and Budenholzer doesn't play him, and now Doc's not playing him. I don't understand. And they didn't do their due diligence apparently, because they gave up a lot of draft picks.
3 second-round picks.
Yeah, that's a lot.
He played a lot at the beginning of the season under Adrian Griffin.
Yep.
But now you're kind of wondering, like, because you have two veteran coaches, Budenholzer, now Doc in the postseason. I know he played a little bit in regular season, but I mean, for crying out loud, this is the postseason when you already got injuries and you're still not playing the guy. I kind of wonder, okay, did John Horst see something different, or you got to kind of maybe criticize that move at that point?
But you also have to look at it.
Or is it just a matchup thing?
Exactly. Well, but that's what I was going to get to. Indianapolis, what have they been trying to do? Intimidate the Bucks. And who's an intimidator on the Bucks? Crowder. He get in there and mix it up. So I don't understand why they're not using that aspect of his game and his personality, his temperament, because this would seem to be the kind of game that he would be good at, where, if the other team is a younger team trying to intimidate the older team and outrun them and this, that, and everything, Crowder can be, for lack of a better word, an enforcer in there.
Yeah, I don't know, but there's something that's not really seeing eye to eye at this point.
And I'd like to know what it is. I don't know what it is either.
Yeah, you're looking at his games so far in the postseason here. No minutes the other night. Sunday he played 13 minutes, but just 2 points. Friday in that overtime game, he just played 2 minutes. Then 15 minutes back on Game 3. Game 2, 12 minutes. So yeah, these playoffs, he's been averaging 10.5 minutes per game and 2.3 points per game. So
not the kind of production you would have expected from Crowder when he came over.
No. So I don't know. I look at it now, that's two veteran coaches that really didn't put him in during, playoff times too. Remember, that was the whole deal last year with Crowder. Wasn't getting a lot of time in the playoffs. And now you got Doc Rivers, who's been around for a while, not even throwing him out there when they could use a lot of bodies at this point.
Oh, so. Absolutely. They can use an intimidating guy like Jay Crowder against this Indiana team, which is trying to get under the Bucs' skin.
Or maybe it's because they don't want him to pull a Bobby Portis and get a little too intimidated. I don't know. But Doc, obviously, and that staff knows a lot more than we do at this point. But I just thought that was kind of interesting to see the other night. He didn't play a single minute.
That is interesting. I didn't realize that.
So, we've seen that we probably might play 15, 20 minutes tonight. Who the heck knows? But I thought the Bucks did a really good thing on Game 5, too. And I don't know if this was from The Athletic that I was reading this, too. And it was a good point. Bucks did a really good job, and I think this is what helped them in that second quarter and what ultimately led them to keep up that pace in the third quarter. They kept Indiana guessing, adjustments. They were playing a zone, but then in the third quarter, Indiana's like, okay, we're going to adjust to what the Bucks are doing here. Bucks come out and do something different again. It was kind of like, and I know Doc Rivers is a big boxing fan, but he kind of kept them on the ropes a little bit and kind of kept them guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a great point too, that, they come out of the half and the Bucks just didn't kind of pick up where they left off in the second quarter and doing the same thing. They kept Indiana guessing and kept them on their heels, sort of thing. And that's a great coaching job. You got to give credit to that staff for doing that. So, I mean, I'll throw this scenario out there. If somehow the Bucks win this series without Dame and Giannis, how much credit do you give to Doc Rivers?
If they win this series,
yeah,
coach of the playoffs,
right?
You lose. Where would the Celtics be without Jason Tatum and Sherrod Brown?
Jaylen Brown.
Where would they be without those two guys? Indiana, they're pounding their chest. We're taking the number 3 seed right to the limit. Well, yeah, you're not taking the number 3 seed to the limit. Without Damian Lillard and Giannis all year, Bucks have been fighting to get in the playoffs. So it's they can't take a whole lot of credit. If he can pull this off and win these next 2 games, he should be coach of the year for that, because that's not an easy task. Because Indianapolis has got a good team. They got nice young players, but they're young.
Well, it's like Luke kind of mentioned it yesterday too. When you look at Doc's teams over the years, let's face it, he's had a lot of star talents, right? Started Orlando. I know he started his career way long ago, first job there, but then, kind of really kicked off with Boston when they had all that talent. Then, the Clippers, and then obviously Philadelphia. He gets this done without the star talents in these next 2 games. It might be one of his best coaching accomplishments.
Oh, I don't think there's any might to it. I think it would be, because when he won the title, he had guys that were veteran players that knew how to win.
KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce.
So now he's got a team of guys that have been in the league a while, but all of a sudden, none of them that are in this position now, including Chris Middleton to a certain point, have been leaders of a really good team. Bobby Portis has always been, a guy that helps. Beasley, a guy that helps. Brook Lopez, a guy that helps. Connaughton, this, that, and the other thing. So this would mean those guys have stepped up. And you step up not only because intestinal fortitude, but because of the coaching. They've given you the opportunity. Just here's what you have to do to get us through this playoff. So I think Doc, if he can pull this off,
with how we've seen Middleton perform in these playoffs, would it be good if the Bucks brought him back next year?
No,
still no.
No, I just think he's too fragile.
Yeah,
I don't think an 82 game season. I don't think he'd play 50 games. As much as I like him and I give him credit, he's a tough kid, a tough guy, and done well. And if he was healthy, no question. But I don't think he's healthy, and I don't think he's going to get healthier.
And I'll be honest, I don't know the ramifications, contract, and all that. Like if they could, or I just throwing that out there. Like,
because I'm sure
NBA contracts are so confusing. I love salary caps in NFL, but don't get me started on the NBA stuff. I can't figure that out.
Yeah, you can't make a trade unless you match salary. I mean, it's
well, then you can't trade a guy for like 8 months after birds rights and all that. So I'm like, I'll let other people figure that out.
And one other reason is Chris Middleton wouldn't be cheap to bring back. And I think you could probably diversify your lineup with that money a little bit more.
Is this playoff series showcasing, though, too, that Brook Lopez shouldn't be back next year?
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. Yeah, I think he's gone.
It's just it's a bad matchup, but it's exposing a lot of the defensive. Like Brook is a very good interior defense, but if you're going up against a team like Indiana that wants to spread it out, Brook can play on the outside from the offense, but not from the defensive side.
No, that's right. He can't get out. He's not quick enough.
Yeah. And you just kind of wonder, like, okay, is this the one? Like, we might have to make that move finally with Brook.
I think you have to. I mean, you look at some of the better big men. Bam Adebayo from Miami. I love his game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even Embiid, as hurt as he can get, he's still one of the most agile players in the league for his size.
Mm-hmm.
He's unbelievably talented.
Well, even Miles Turner for the Pacers too.
Well, Miles Turner. I mean, Anthony Davis. You got to get a guy more in that mold. Brook Lopez is being left on the sidelines now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got to find better guys. Even Jokic, you look at him. He's not going to win a foot race with anybody, but he plays inside. He plays outside. He can do it all.
Yeah.
So you got to get more guys like that. Where they're going to come from, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, like Middleton and even Lopez's salary could go to try and find a guy like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Chris Middleton, for injuries and how much he's going to cost you, I just don't think it would be a feasible reunion.
And the thing is, too, is like, this is what I hate about the NBA. And I was talking about this on Monday or Tuesday. Maybe it was Tuesday for Grind My Gears. You got to factor in the Giannis. Like, is that going to piss him off when it comes to moves like that? Because, was it Monday or Tuesday? Lakers are out. So what's the story from The Athletic? That the Lakers are very open to drafting LeBron's kid to keep LeBron happy. LeBron's kid does not deserve to be drafted.
No, not at all.
But, that's where we're at with this, is like, we got to keep star players happy. So what's the goal for the Lakers? It ain't to win a championship if you're making moves like that, right? I mean, no offense to the kid, but I'm sorry, but you're going to get drafted over somebody who probably deserves to be drafted over you. And I mean, it's a move like that to keep LeBron happy and fulfill his dream and all that, which is no denying that's a cool thing for a dad to say he was able to play with his son. I understand that. But from a business standpoint, from the Lakers, you're obviously not, your focus isn't winning a championship if you're going to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I'm the Laker manager, I'm telling LeBron, we're not going to draft your kid. We'll sign him as a free agent after the draft, but we're not going to draft him. Only 2 rounds in the draft.
Yeah.
I just think that they're not going to draft him.
And that's the one thing I grinds my gears about the NBA now, that it's turned into, like, it almost is like you need a superstar, but then once you get that superstar, it almost develops into, we got to cater everything for that one superstar to make them happy. That's where I like the Nuggets. Yes, they got a superstar, but it's almost like a full-on, kind of like a team atmosphere over there too. And it could change.
Oh, you watch those guys, and I mean, with Gordon and some of the other players,
Murray and all,
they've got a nice team put together.
Mm-hmm.
And they're big. What are they? Jokic is 7 feet, and Gordon's about 6'10", and they got 6'9" in the front court. Guys that can really move. They're agile. They got a nice team. They're going to be hard to beat.
Mm-hmm. And how many other casual NBA fans, diehard NBA fans, can name maybe 5 Nuggets players?
Yeah, that's right.
Not many out there. So that's one of my things. I really bugs me about the NBA right now.
Yeah, it is. It's the selective stars. There's no question about it. But I just think there's stars, maybe 10 guys that are above the fray. And then there's 150 guys that are all the same. And I think that's something that the NBA has gone to. They don't have specialists like they used to have, like, where's the Dennis Rodman?
The first name I thought of was Dennis Rodman.
Where's the guy that can play defense and rebound?
Yeah.
Where are those specialists that they used to have? You don't have them anymore.
The guy that you just plant behind the 3-point line, or something like that,
Well, even a John Stockton.
Right.
Mark
Price, for crying out loud. Mark Jackson, those type of point guards.
Stockton was one of the best ball handlers, giving out assists. I don't know who the top assist leader is in the NBA. You get these guys coming in like a Ja Morant. It might be, but you get these guys coming in like a Ja Morant and Kyrie Irving, and they're point guards, but they're there to score. That's all they're doing. They're not making the game all inclusive, so to speak, like some of these other guys used to be.
Yeah, Tyrese is the leader in assists, it looks like, at least per average. Then it's Luka, then Jokic is third on there. James Harden, then LeBron James up there too. So top 5.
Yeah, it's a star dominated league. Like I said, you take the top 10 or 12 guys out of the league, and then it's pretty much across the board level.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I think Anthony Edwards, though, is jumping into that top 10, or is in that top 10
I think
right
so
now.
too. Where did he play college ball?
Georgia. Do you remember? You don't.
I don't remember him.
So his head coach was Tom Crean at Georgia when Tom Crean was there.
Oh,
and they only won like 5 games. Yeah,
shows why Tom Crean isn't in demand as a coach.
Yeah,
I think
that's what somebody said. It was one of the national person I follow basketball was like, it is hard to believe that Georgia, Tom Crean, and Anthony Edwards only won 5 games or whatever it was that 1 year he was at Georgia. But,
even Michael Jordan, they said the only guy that ever stopped Michael Jordan from scoring was Dean Smith. But they won national championships and probably should have won 2 in Jordan's couple of years there. But so they won a lot of games. But Anthony Edwards, from a team that only won 5 games, I think he's the next superstar.
Yeah, you start, and I think this is the playoffs, and that series I think was like, again, for maybe the casual NBA fans, you knew about him but really didn't know about him.
It's his coming out party.
Yes, exactly. And it was Jim Boeheim was on Dan Patrick maybe a month ago. I think it was during the tournament, and he was on talking about something about like actually going to watch a player, and obviously
he's the only player I ever drove to see.
Yeah, he was talking about Caitlin Clark, and then he said Anthony Edwards was the other one too, and he threw out a Michael Jordan about Anthony Edwards. Yeah. And so you heard the same thing?
Yeah, I heard that. And Dan, how far did you know? Well, about an hour and a half. Well, that wasn't exactly like you went across the country to see him play.
Right.
But I have to admit, he's been under the radar for me. Mm-hmm. But in this playoff series, this kid is really, really good.
Yep. Minnesota, don't screw it up.
No, exactly. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns is now a distant second as far as the best player on that team.
Whatever the drama with the ownership group thing, it better not affect you guys being able to keep Anthony Edwards.
No.
Because that dude's going to be special.
Yeah, A-Rod and the ownership group screw this up.
Or Glenn Taylor, they're bickering back and forth of
I know it.
Who owns what and that. But, yeah. And then Luke was talking about the Twins ownership, too. It's like, got some issues, it sounds like, with some ownerships over there.
Yeah, that I'm not familiar with. But
we don't have to worry about that for the Packers.
No.
You have an issue with ownership, duke it out at the bar, then have a beer afterwards or something like that.
Sure.
So.
And you look at all the pro teams in Wisconsin, pretty stable ownership.
Yeah.
Atanasio, I mean, it might be not the most popular, but stable.
Mm-hmm.
I think Atanasio, he gets criticism for what he's done. And the Bucks ownership has done what they've had to do to put a winner on the floor.
They've been spending.
They've been
spending.
Deny that. You can't deny that they haven't been all in. They've adhered to Giannis, giving him a boatload of money. Damian's got a boatload of money. Chris Middleton. I mean, for being a Milwaukee franchise, they put out a lot of money for this team.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break here before we get to some receiver defer coming up a little bit later on. Get those questions in. We'll be back in just a few minutes. One of the best scents in this world is when you step outside and you smell someone grilling out or having a smoker going. It is now that time of year. You're excited. I'm excited. Hey, we're all excited. So let's hit a home run this year for our grilling season. And you can do that by visiting Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire. Whether you have a hankering for brats to put on the grill or ribs to put in the smoker, you know you're getting quality when you shop at Mike's Star Market. Welcome to backyard barbecuing season, people. Fire up those grills and smokers. Let's put on some quality products from Mike's Star Market on those grills and smokers. Mike's Star Market, deliberately old-fashioned to assure quality and affordability. All right, got a couple more coming in here. We'll get to receiver defer coming up here in just a skosh, but really quick here, draft expert intern. What do you think about the Packers draft last week?
Very good.
Yeah?
I thought they accomplished an awful lot, and I'm excited about this Texas A&M linebacker.
Cooper?
I think that guy is going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was solid.
Yeah, I
thought
did
it was
too.
solid.
And even I thought they got that safety from Georgia
Yeah, Javon
down
Bullard.
in the draft that I think he's going to be pretty good too. So I think they did a nice job.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, from our listeners, I didn't hear one negative thing. I think most part people, I mean, it was typical right away reaction. Cooper DeJean's out there, and they don't draft him, and obviously right away there was a lot of people upset. But then once the dust settled, I think everybody's like, you know what, that was pretty darn solid. That was pretty darn solid.
I think it was too. I think it was too.
Rookies got a little rookie camp starting tomorrow, so we'll get first glimpse of those rookies over at 12.
Well, they got 11 of them, didn't they? Or 11 draftees?
11 picks, but then they got, was it 8 undrafted rookie free agents, which actually is kind of a small number when you think about it. But they already had a bunch of people on the roster. So Chargers signed 21 undrafted free agents. But again, that's the, Chargers dealing with some salary cap stuff. So they've got to, count on those guys a little bit more to fill out their roster. So
yeah, they've got a big salary cap problem. I wonder who is the best player not drafted. I don't think I saw any surprises of not being drafted. I think a lot of quarterbacks got taken towards the end. They went down the list and got a bunch of quarterbacks in there for different teams. But I don't see anybody that really surprised me by not getting drafted.
Yeah, I know the Vikings got some credit. They got another edge rusher that was undrafted that a lot of people thought should have been like a 5th round pick and such, but we'll see how that all plays out over there too.
Yeah, so the Vikings are going to be fun to watch with J.J. McCarthy being their quarterback now. I think is he going to step in as the number 1 quarterback, or is he got to work his way up through the ranks?
I think Sam Darnold is going to be the guy right away, and we'll see how it goes there. But yeah,
they seem to think J.J. McCarthy is the answer. So in the future,
we'll see. Time will tell. But no, I liked it. I thought it was solid. No complaints really for me. No,
I can't complain either.
I'm really intrigued with their 7th round pick, Kalen King, though, the corner from Penn State. You had Jaden Reed, who obviously went up against him. Jaden Reed's from Michigan State and such, and he had tweeted out that's not a 7th round pick. Sauce Gardner even tweeted out saying, same thing essentially. And last year at this point in time, in the way too early mocks, he was actually deemed as a first round corner. Down year this year, last and 7th. Heck, even Bill Belichick was saying, he was talking about, he was on Pat McAfee's draft show, and they were doing highlights of Marvin Harrison Jr., and Bill Belichick just randomly said, and that's a really good corner from Penn State. He was talking about King. And Packers got him in the 7th round. So I'm intrigued to see if he uses that chip on his shoulder a little bit here, and maybe that's a nice diamond in the rough pick there.
Yeah, and that's what you got to have. You expect the 1st and 2nd round, maybe even 3rd, to be real contributors. The success of your draft is from 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yep. And
if this kid can get on the field as a 7th round draft choice, that'll be a bonus.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if he, use that as motivation, right? Use it as motivation. We'll see if he can get on the field there. But
yeah, once you get a uniform and once the season starts and you're on the roster, it doesn't make a difference if you're the 1st or the 7th round pick.
Exactly.
If you're on that team, you've got to contribute. You're getting paid to contribute. They don't say, well, he's only a 7th round draft choice. No, If you're on that team, you're an NFL player. Granted, you're a rookie and you're going to learn and this, that, and the other thing, but you can't use that excuse that you're a seventh round draft choice. Oh, well, he's only a seventh round draft choice. No, when you make that squad, you've shown that you're an NFL player.
Right.
And then you go from there.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Quick break, and then we'll do some receiver defer since we got a couple questions out there from our listeners. So last call. If you got any you want to participate, let us know. We'll take that quick break and wrap up the second hour. A little receiver defer after these quick words. I can't even say words right now. Looking to get your name out in the public eye more? Do you need some apparel, drinkware, signage done, whatever marketing materials you may be looking for? Resonance Branding Company has a wide range of items to help make your brand stand out from the competition. All your branding needs in one convenient place. Resonance is here to save you time, money, and headaches. And they can also set you up with an online store to sell your items too. So let me simply ask you, does your brand resonate? Resonance Branding Company, the official swag provider of the program. Also, the mobile man cave going to be going in to get the sponsor logos put on next week. Getting some ideas of how to decorate the back end. I want a stuffed animal to put back there too as our mascot. I don't know what yet.
On what? On the back of the van?
Yeah, like inside. So like when we do shows, mobile shows, we got a little partner with us, a little mascot.
Why don't you get a picture of you in a Packer uniform or something on there?
On
Who cares about a bear, an animal?
Little stuffed animal in there. You got to. It's a man cave. We got to have some team logos
What
on
is
there.
this, a toy house or a man cave?
Man cave, a real man cave. You've got
With
like
a
a
toy
mounted,
animal?
no, like a mounted animal,
Oh, big
stuffed.
elk. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
like a raccoon or a fox or
Yeah,
something like that.
raccoon.
Muskrats.
You want a wolf, something mean and
Ooh,
ornery.
a wolf would be sweet.
There you go.
Now, I wonder if Jake's.
A muskrat or a coon, that people shoot them to get rid of them.
I wonder if Jake's got anything that's confiscated that's sitting at the office that we can throw in there or something.
You might have. I'll just drive around. There's a lot of roadkill out there.
Yeah, then I got to go pay to get it stuffed and all that.
Well,
I'll send
true.
Murphy on one of his garage sales to see if he can find something.
Oh, yeah, you bet. Because
He'll find something.
You find an estate sale
Mm-hmm.
where they're, getting rid of all their earthly possessions and some of these big mounted elk or 10, 12 point buck or something like that.
Yep.
Or a big bear. Get a big bear on the back.
I was looking at it yesterday and kind of like, okay, I could put something there. Gonna have to get a hold of Carpet City, see if we can get some like golf turf to put on the bottom there. Oh yeah, I got big plans, man.
Oh boy.
You just wait to see this unveiled.
Those things do draw attention. I remember we've been on some of our farm tours. We go to Alaska, and the bus is always wrapped, and it's always identifies holiday vacations. And then they've got pictures that are just about life-size pictures on the side of the bus of moose and elk and grizzly bear. And more than once, I've seen people with cameras walk up and take a picture of those animals. So in case they never see them in the wild, they can say, oh, look what I saw in Alaska. And they do draw a lot of attention.
Yep.
But not a raccoon or a skunk.
Well,
we're
doing like when we do the shows, we'll have it set up and we got our little mascot with us, our buddy, whatever we'll name it. So C-Bomb offered his perch if he can find it. He's got stuffed perch. So
stuffed G-Man, put him.
G-Man will never leave.
Oh,
I like the wolf one. Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right.
They're interesting to see in the wild. You ever seen a wolf in the wild? Yeah, there's something to see there.
It's almost majestic when you see them by himself, and almost gives you chills thinking about it.
You just think of what they're thinking when you watch them, because they're always like on point, so to speak. They're always at attention, always aware of their environment.
Yep. All right, we'll start off with you if you have any receiver defers there.
Oh, I certainly do.
All righty.
This crossed my mind when I thought about the whole year, because for me, I don't think Damian Lillard's mind was in Milwaukee. I think he wanted to go to Miami. That didn't happen, and then when this dropped down, it's kind of a bombshell.
And I know he just was going through a divorce too.
Yep, exactly. So I don't think his mind was here. So I'm not blaming him. I'm just equating this. Receiver defer, to me, and maybe you don't agree, but whatever. Receiver defer, Damian Lillard to the Bucks this year is reminiscent to me of when, in the results they got, to when the Packers kind of sold out to bring in John Hadl to play quarterback from San Diego.
Man.
Absolutely. I mean, Damian gave the Bucks more results than that, but John Hadl, to me, was a disaster with the Packers. But it's to me, it's akin to that. We didn't get the bang for our buck that we thought we were going to get. Not even close with John Hadl. And I think Damian Lillard, to a point, because his mind was other places for reasons we just enumerated. I think it's akin to that for me.
Yeah, because I mean, Dame has gone out there and said, he's made comments like he doesn't really do anything. I know Doc Rivers has made it a point to hang out with him, go to dinner, and they talk boxing. I guess that's an interest that they both have. with each other. So I would say, yeah, year one results have not been up to the expectations.
Yeah.
And that's where that's a lot of pressure for next year, because we know Damon Giannis will be back next year.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
but
yeah. And that's why I say receiver defer. Next year, Damon Lillard will be much better. I don't want to put 75% or 60% better, but be much better for the Bucks.
I would agree with that. I would receive that.
Yeah.
A little bit more comfortable. I mean, Doc's going to be back next year too.
Yep.
You know, they're not going to let go of him and pay a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th coach or anything like that. So I just, I think they'll be better next year too.
Receiver defer, taking into account the personalities on the PGA Tour now, nice people, and the ratings are getting for their tournaments going back to the Masters. Receiver defer, the PGA needs desperately for Rory McIlroy to win the PGA tournament next month, or this month.
The PGA Championship?
Yep.
Receive.
Yeah, I think I mean, you saw what happened when he and Shane Lowry won the team tournament in New Orleans. I mean, big crowds, boisterous crowds. They got some good TV ratings, and it just points out to me that as good a guy as Scotty Scheffler is, without Jordan Spieth playing good golf, Justin Thomas, Rory has to win the PGA to put the kind of emphasis on the PGA and pro golf once again, like we had. And there'll never be another Tiger. Let's forget that.
Yep.
But Rory is as close as we're going to get, and he needs to win that PGA tournament.
Because he's got a personality with it too,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Yep. I would agree. Receive.
All right.
So
receiver defer, the NBA should go to 5 rounds in their draft rather than just 2.
I remember.
Oh, they used to have like 10 or 12.
Yeah, it was double digits.
Yeah.
Because there were some players I remember as a kid looking at, like, I would always look at the back of cards, and like I would memorize their height and weight, but then like where they were drafted, and I was just surprised to see a lot of these players were like 11th round. There's no 11 rounds in draft, something like that. It was like, but yeah, there was 5 rounds. Team sizes are so small though.
I realize that, but now they've got these G leagues and everything like that, and they sign all these guys as free agent. I just think it would be more fun, more competitive for these guys to be able to come into these camps and try and make a name for themselves as a draftee, as property of the Bucks, the Pistons, the Celtics, whatever it might be.
So would you say kind of similar to how baseball does it with their minor leagues a little bit, where you can kind of draft these guys and build them up with the G leagues?
On your team. Yeah. I just would like to see the NBA go to more draft.
Yeah, because there's some dudes who, we watch them in college and they just like, what was it? Like Zach Edey's not a first round, that kind of talk sort of stuff out there. So, sure, why not? Why not?
Yeah, and I don't know what the reasoning is to go to 2 rounds because
you got your summer leagues.
I know it, but
I'm saying you can add all those players
true,
and play summer leagues and all that fun stuff. So,
but anyway, those are some of the thoughts that I had today.
Okay, so let's do a couple from our listeners before I get to mine, because I might have to save it for the next hour. Receive or defer from Surveyor Sam. The NCAA needs to come up with some sort of regulations on NIL within the next 3 years, or college sports as we know it will cease to exist, and we'll just have another professional sports league to watch.
Yeah, I don't know. Of 3 years, I don't think it'll be cease to exist. That's a pretty extreme position to take, but definitely something has to be done about NIL. What you can do, or about the time you say you're going to limit this, somebody's going to take them to court, and so they're going to be tied up in the court. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't have the magic bullet to solve the problem, but I agree it is a problem. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be losing more and more coaches. There'll be young guys that'll want to coach. There'll always be coaches, but the quality, what's going to happen to the quality? There are a lot of ramifications that I can see if they don't get this under control. The trade, not only NIL, but this transfer portal. That's more out of control to me than NIL. They're both out of control, but wow, they're 2 can of worms that I don't know how you're going to fix.
I know we talked about this on Tuesday, but I'll be curious to see how this kind of transpires or develops. Is this SEC Big Ten apparently developing a plan to share revenue with players in a potential landmark change to college athletics? And also, this is from CBS Sports, the still unrefined proposal currently utilizing the name, quote, modern model would not only share revenue with players, but also perhaps settle the House versus NCAA lawsuit that goes to trial in 2025. The antitrust lawsuit is a class action complaint alleging that the NCAA and power conferences have conspired to suppress athletes' compensation. So
I don't have any problem with compensating athletes, but where are we going to go? And who's going to end up? Who's paying for this? You and I. Networks are paying outlandish rights fees to broadcast these games. Ticket prices are going up. Now you got to pay seat licenses just to own your season tickets. You can bet somebody's going to come up with another fee that you're going to have to pay, a gate fee, or who knows what it might be called. But the fans are the ones that are going to be really hit. I mean, you look at now, you take a family to a Packer game, and man, you've got to save up for a year to afford it if you're going to have any kind of fun. If you're going to stay overnight, or if you're going to have beers and brats and all that stuff before the game, and treats, and go to the pro shop and things like that, that's part of the experience. It shouldn't break you, but it will. And the fans are the ones that are getting hit the hardest. And that's not going to change. These networks, now you got Amazon and streaming, and all these people are going to get involved in it. I don't know where it's going to end, but it's nothing but big money, and the big money is going to get bigger.
I think with the licensing fees, should treat it like, because I know you got it for Badger football. You should be able to do whatever you want with those seats, decorate it, paint it a different color, whatever. It's like Adopt a Highway or something like that. Make sure you're in charge of that seat, and when you're done, you can rip it up and take it home with you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the seat license. That seat license is I have 2 season tickets. My seat license, I believe, is like $660. That's just to have the right to have my season tickets. Then you pay for your season tickets over and above that.
Man.
So it's getting pretty expensive. And, some of these people have 5, 6, 8, 10 season tickets for the Packers or the Badgers and things like that. That's expensive.
Yep. This is from John, receiver deferred, the NFC North. Seems like it's going back to the old black and blue division of the 90s. And is the NFC North the toughest division this year?
I'd say yes. I'd go with that. I'd receive that. I think so. I think the Bears can't get any worse. I mean, let's face it. Caleb Williams and Roma Doozy coming in there, they're going to make the Bears better, plus other moves that they've made. Detroit's still going to be there. I think the Vikings are the team that has to be worried about the fact that they may be looking up. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it, but I think the Lions and the Packers are probably right now on paper after the draft, the top 2, then the Bears, and then the Vikings. But when they start playing games, all bets are off.
I still might go slight advantage to AFC North. You still got Baltimore in there. Cleveland was a playoff team last year. I like what Pittsburgh's done so far this offseason. And Cincinnati is going to be healthier with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase too. So
I think they're going to be very equitable, but I still think the NFC North is going to be.
I think there will be more playoff teams in the AFC North than the AFC North than the NFC North.
That's possible because the rest of the AFC is weak.
Well, I mean, Chiefs aren't weak.
No, but who knows what Buffalo's going to be? The Jets, things like that. Who knows what they're going to be? So it'll be fun year to watch. There's no question about it. I don't know if the Bears, if Caleb Williams comes in.
The thing is the one thing I don't like about the Bears is you got a lame duck coach. Things don't go right. You're starting over already next year with the new coaching staff.
Well, that's true. Their coaching staff isn't stable. There's no question about that. I thought they'd be gone already.
Yeah.
I really did.
I mean, you should be excited. Chicago should absolutely be excited. But if it's just a little bit down, you're going to have a whole new coaching staff, and then you got to start over with the coaches. Maybe even a new front. I don't know.
And that's the death of a lot of these young quarterbacks. They've been in the league 3 or 4 years. They've had 3 or 4 or 5 different coaching staffs, offensive coordinators, offensive systems. And then all of a sudden you get a good receiver, free agency, he's gone. Yeah, there's stability says a lot to do with it.
Yep, I totally agree. All right, I'll save mine for coming up past the next hour. So we got some news updates. We'll hit that up. We'll get back to some baseball and hoops talk. Jake Bolks coming up at the bottom of the hour. Outdoor tidbits. Plenty more coming up after these few words. Third and final hour on this Thursday morning, May 2nd. Appreciate you all tuning in. However, wherever you may be tuning in from, coming up in about 25 minutes or so, we'll do some outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden, answering your questions. Big thanks to all of you who have submitted questions for Jake. So we'll get to those coming up in about 25 minutes. We also got some more hoops talk to get to. Bucks back in action tonight. Can they extend their season tonight? Can they get that W? without Giannis and Dame, both listed as doubtful on yesterday's injury report. What's the key to victory? What are the keys to victory for the Bucks tonight? Brewers off day today before beginning a 3-game series against the Cubbies. Brewers right now holding a half-game lead over the Cubs for first place in the division, as was announced yesterday too. Pat Murphy, 2-game suspension, served it yesterday. Will not manage tomorrow. Ricky Weeks will manage. And such, Freddie Peralta also suspended for 5 games. Abner Uribe 6. Those two are appealing it though. So also Kentucky Derby, as intern reminded me during the break too. We'll hit that up as well. We'll play a little game with that. I'll get a little game going for
All
that
right,
coming
sounds
up here.
good.
So before that though, my receiver deferred. I don't know if it's really a receiver deferred the more I think about it, but I want to throw it out here. So Dion right now, a little bit more it's not conspiracy or in trouble or anything like that. But so there was an article written about I think, was it on The Athletic on here? So this is from ESPN. So anyways, him and his son, Dion and his son Shador, who's going to be probably a first-round pick next year.
I was going to say, just my question, he didn't come out in the draft this year.
Nope. And we
Did
know
that other kid that, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt,
Nope.
but he didn't come out either?
Travis Hunter did not come out.
Okay,
So,
all right.
but Dion already, we know for the last few months, has already said what teams those two will only play for, which is five teams in the league, which 4 of the 5 are ones that Dion played on. So apparently he doesn't want to play in cold weather, yet he's letting them play for Philly and Washington, which whatever. But anyways, so there was this was from The Athletic. Former player, Colorado safety Xavier Smith, told The Athletic in a story published Monday that Dion, quote, never even tried to get to know me, and that, quote, he was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves. To which now Dion and his son have gone on Twitter/X and have gone on the offensive and even kind of going after this former player who now plays at UTEP. Shador Sanders, Dion's son, posted on Twitter/X saying he doesn't even remember this guy. Quote, bro had to be very mid at best. Dion even getting in on the Twitter, and anybody who's been on Twitter or the X knows Dion's very active on there. And he retweeted a screenshot of this kid's stats, which I mean aren't a whole lot out there. So kind of belittling these former players out there. Good luck for Dion right now. Should Dion shut his trap, or is this the new age of sports and college athletics right now? Do you think he has a right to, back up his plan and how he's doing, or what are your thoughts on this?
Receiver deferred. You want Dion coaching your college team?
Probably not. Yeah.
No, I don't want him anywhere near my team because he's not building esprit de corps. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, and if you don't belittle your players, all that does is make you as a coach and the leader of that program look like a small man. No, yeah. He's not. He's into his notoriety. Let's face it, he is. He always has been. Great player. I take nothing away from that. But I don't think he's proven anything yet as a coach.
Yeah. It's gone to a back and forth with other players and such. So Colorado receiver Caleb Mathis posted a video of himself getting the better of Smith in a practice last spring, in which,
well, now that's lame.
Yeah, and to which now Smith's Austin P teammate Jaheim Ward noted that Mathis had just 38 receiving yards last season, and so I mean they're going back and forth with this thing, and that tweet led to Ward's career stats at the FCS school, just 36 tackles over the past 3 seasons, and that's what prompted Dion to retweet that screenshot. And it's going back. As a coach, you got to, I mean, come on now. You
got to be above the fray.
Right, exactly. And I was a Dion fan. I'm a Dion fan as a player.
I was too.
Loved him. Yep, one of my favorite players. But you can't go on Twitter like Dion has throughout his entire career. And, he tweets a lot of like positive stuff, biblical quotes and that. but then do this. It's you can't. You got to be above, like you said.
I
You've got to
lost
be the
a,
leader.
I lost a lot of respect for him as a coach by what he did at Colorado. Like you talk to players that left Colorado and heard their comments that he more or less told them, you might as well leave because you're not going to play. In other words, he's not even giving them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Colorado last year in his first year started out like a house of fire, and then they fizzled out, didn't even make a bowl game. So
Right.
this is he didn't accomplish anything at Colorado outside of alienating an awful lot of people. Whether he's going to improve as things go on, I don't know. But he's not the kind of guy I want coaching my team because that's not the positive, the positive reinforcement that you need to give.
Mm-hmm.
You got, I'm sorry the young man feels that way. We did everything we could to try and make him a player. It didn't work out, so he failed to improve himself and his ability. He went someplace else. You don't put screenshots of his stats. That's not above the fray at all. That's demeaning to him and the player.
I agree. And it's just the one thing I will be curious with Deion is like when his son and Travis Hunter are gone, what is Colorado going to look like? Like player-wise, talent-wise.
Including who's going to be their coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, he's not one of these guys he's just always looking for greener pasture. And when there's greener pasture someplace, he's going to go. Yeah. And I don't know what kind of schools would want Deion. I think he's developing a reputation of like a gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the long-term Nick Saban, Barry Alvarez type of coach that's going to come in there and work to build your program and continue to do that until end of your career, so to speak. He's going to be jumping around a lot.
And Deion also clapped back at another Twitter person who took issue with Shadur's, his son's social media behavior, pointed out Colorado's 4-8 record last year. Deion again responded to this and said this about his son. He will be a top 5 pick. Where's your son going? LOL, LOL, LOL. I got time today. LOL. Just stop.
Just shows you what a small person he is.
I know it's hard sometimes not to chime in when, somebody comes after you, criticizes you, but this once you get into those weeds, it doesn't get any better.
No, it doesn't. And he's down in the weeds. You say, I'm sorry you don't respect our program or appreciate what we do. I wish the best for your son. His son could break a leg and not even get drafted. I mean, and I don't know if his talent is that good. I don't know what the pro scouts really think of him. I haven't heard much about what they really think of this kid as a quarterback for the NFL. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Deion's not building up any points for character.
No, not at all. So, yeah, not the kind of publicity that you should be getting on a program, but they'll spin it. They'll spin
absolutely.
It. So,
and you wonder how long it'll take before Colorado fans get upset with him and his tactics. 4-8 isn't what you brought him in there for.
No.
And they say, well, he's got to build a program. Not anymore. Not like Alvarez came in and built that Wisconsin program from the ground up with recruits. He's going to go out and pirate players from other teams. Is it going to work? Well, these guys grow together when they come in as freshmen and work their way up through their senior year. Deion's program doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he changes 180 degrees, and I don't think he will.
Right.
He's going to go get players from other schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're not going to be winning any games, that should be the bottom line. That should
for
be
the
the
money
ultimate.
They're paying him. It should be really the bottom line.
Yep. So
because their bottom line isn't black, it's red with that program.
All right. Before we get to Jake, let's do a little. You want to do a little Kentucky Derby? Give us a little bit of a preview. Who's the favorite for this one?
I've been watching a little bit, and in my mind, Fierceness is a horse to beat. He won the Florida Derby about a month ago. He won by 13 lengths. That is a big margin of victory. I mean, you're talking Secretariat distance, 13 lengths. But John Velazquez is his jockey. He's won 3 Kentucky Derbies already. Todd Pletcher is a Hall of Fame trainer. He's the trainer. So Fierceness doesn't have the best post to get out of there. Sierra Leone, I think, would have been a favorite, but he's coming out of post number 2, and that's not good. Just a Touch is a horse that I'm not sure how good he really is. He's a son of Justify. Justify won the Triple Crown in 2018, big, tall chestnut colt. And Just a Touch is his son. And, you know, in 2018, this is really and truly one of his first crops. And so this horse is getting better with every race. And Brad Cox, the local guy from down in Louisville, is his trainer and really good. Also, there's another horse called Catching Freedom that's getting some attention, and a Japanese entry that a lot of folks are looking at that's got a chance, people think, is called Forever Young. I think those 5 are probably going to be the top 5 betting favorites in the race. And Fierceness, depending on the hype here the next day or two, I think he's going to be the betting favorite when it comes to starting the race when they ring the bell. Should be a fun race because there's nobody that's head and shoulders above anybody else.
Yeah.
Could be very competitive and should be a very competitive race, depending on the track. If it's going to be dry, if it's going to be wet for a mudder, you know, then everything kind of gets thrown out the window. But if things go as planned on a decent track, Fierceness is a fast horse, and Velasquez knows how to win the Kentucky Derby.
Mm-hmm. All right. I honestly forgot it was coming up this week. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
you know, it's May
Well, you're
and such.
hooked on you're going fishing.
I wish I was going fishing.
Oh man.
I wish I was going fishing, but yeah.
But first Saturday in May.
Yep.
Fastest 2 minutes in sports.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, you want to play a little game here?
Sure.
All right. So, first of all, hey, never mind. I'll ask this later. Okay. We're going to play, is this an indie rock band name or is this a Kentucky Derby horse? You ready for this?
Sure.
All right. Gatch.
That's a horse.
12th place at the 1975 Kentucky Derby. Look at you starting off hot right away.
I think I bet on him. Unfortunately, I don't pay 12 places.
Snuzzle.
This one I don't know, but I'd say it's a horse.
16th place in the 1951 Kentucky Derby.
All right.
Let's go with Minty Burgoo.
That's got to be a band.
That is a random. This is from where you can create your own Kentucky Derby horse name random generator. That was from a random generator.
Oh, really?
So I gave you a little bit of a curveball.
What was the name?
Minty Burgoo.
So there really hasn't been a horse by that name.
But what's the date of just the number, the date, what's the date of your birth? Really quick here.
What do you mean?
Don't give me the month, just give me the date.
6.
Because I can give you your Kentucky Derby horse name by entering your first initial and the date of your birth.
All right, what would that be?
Colorful Bluegrass. Not bad.
Not bad.
I don't know what would mine be. Really quick here, because you have to have a website for everything. Wandering Marzipan, and it's got a picture of a horse smoking a stogie. So I don't know what the heck that's all about. So, all right, how about let's go with Pixies.
Band.
It is a band. From the 80s, it looks like. So, let's go with White Stripes.
Band.
Look at you, undefeated right now.
I quit.
Nice. I'm actually surprised right now how well you're doing. But let's go, Mr. Frisky.
That's a horse.
Nice. 8th place, 1990.
I remember that horse. I remember that name.
Look at I'm impressed right now. Mucho Macho Man.
Oh, that's a horse.
Golly, I can't.
That's a horse. That's not that far. That's not that long ago.
2011, yeah, 3rd place.
Yep, he's been a pretty decent sire too.
Flaming Lips.
That's a band.
Jeez. This might be the best one you've
ever done. Okay, let's move on to something else here. I've never been undefeated at anything in my life.
I was gonna say, I'll give you a couple more though.
I'm
gonna give you a couple more.
Oh man.
Bravery.
Band.
Dang it! Look at you.
You want to quit now?
No, I gotta try it. Degenerate John.
Degenerate John. I'm trying to think who that horse would be named after, but I'm going to say it's a horse.
1980.
Yeah. Anytime you get some of those things, like there's been a horse named Shecky Green, and some of those things. It's usually that's a horse. All right, so that was fun.
I'm a wild and crazy guy.
That's let's see. I'm a wild and crazy because they can only have 17 letters in a name, and I don't know how many letters are in. I'm a wild and crazy guy, but I'm going to say it's a horse.
Ah, yep. No spaces.
Yeah.
No spaces.
Yep. No, you can have 17 letters to name your horse, and it can't be anything. And after a horse has been gone for a certain amount of time, you can reuse a name. And of course, it's got to be in good taste and this, that, and the other thing. So
I'm going to give it to you. Nice work. Well done.
There you go. I'm ready for the race.
Wow. 2 fills? This one doesn't count, but I'll ask you 2 fills?
I'd say that's a band.
Last year, 2nd place.
2 fills?
Yep.
I don't remember that horse.
2 fills.
Don't remember it.
So I don't know why, but they got a picture of 2 Phil Jacksons next to it. So.
Oh, okay. No, I don't remember that horse at all.
Yeah, that's.
Well, it should be fun this weekend because, like I said, there aren't any real head and shoulder favorites, but there are one group of probably about 5 that are better than the rest, and I believe there'll be 20 coming out of the gate.
All right. So what time is that? Do you know off the top of your head?
It'll start late, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock Saturday afternoon, because they'll have all the preliminary races. Coming up tomorrow, they'll have the Kentucky Oaks, which is 3-year-old fillies. And so then, depending on the 3-year-old fillies, once in a while, the one that wins that will compete against the older horse or against the boys in like the Preakness. And so we'll see how that works out too.
Mm-hmm. So, and you have not been to a Kentucky Derby, right?
No, I've been to Churchill Downs a few times, but I've not been to the Derby.
Wonder if A-Rod is going to be there.
Oh, there'll be. It's fun to watch all the concoctions of clothes and drinks and hats, and people are there to have fun. Hopefully it's good weather.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen any weather reports or anything like that. So, but all right. I was just because Jake was texting me back, so got a little distracted there. But all right, Bucks back at it tonight. It's about 50-50 from our text right now whether you think the Bucks will win tonight or not. We'll make our picks at the back end of this hour here, but you can submit your picks hitting us up with the text at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Reminder, no Brewers game today, off day. They get set for their 3-game series against the Chicago Cubs. Mentioned it in the first hour, but still give them a little love. Twins on a 10-game winning streak right now.
You bet they are. They're not exactly playing World Series contenders, but still in all,
taking advantage of the schedule.
You bet 10-game winning streak is wonderful.
They've got an off day today, too, before they take on the Boston Red Sox starting tomorrow. But another 10-5 victory against the White Sox yesterday.
Now they're starting to hit nicely, too. They're doing a nice job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get on next week and watch the Brewers and the Cardinals a couple of games down
nice.
at, I was going to say Miller Park, but AmFam Field.
It's still Miller Park. That's the one thing I think with a lot of baseball places, we still call it by their old names. I still call it Comiskey Park for the White Sox.
Did you ever get to old Comiskey Park?
Nope.
Oh, that was a jewel.
Yeah.
Oh, it was green. The seats and the walls, everything was just green. And, they had Bill Veeck was a master at showman. And he had the seats in the outfield wall. They were down there, little picnic areas, and you're about ground level. I don't know how you could see the game, but people were down there hooting and hollering, and the bleachers in left field and out. It was quite a ballpark. Every time a White Sox hit a home run, the fireworks went off, and it was unbelievable. We got there one time for a doubleheader, and I think the White Sox won 15-2 and 12-7, and I'll bet the fireworks went off 10 times. So it was a great old ballpark. Not a good side of town to be on.
Yeah. I was looking at some of the MLB.com's hitter power rankings. Curious to see where they had William Contreras on here. My money, he's an MVP candidate in the first month of the season.
He's going for it.
But they have him listed as 6th on here. And this is just hitter power rankings. Mookie Betts, number 1. Ohtani, number 2. Soto, Gunnar Henderson, Jose Altuve, and then William Contreras is at number 6. But here's a nugget for you. Since 2002, he leads all primary catchers in batting average, on base percentage, and OPS plus, and he's just 26 years old right now. So
I'd sign him to a long-term
I was going to say,
contract.
lock him up.
I'd lock him up. What was a nice story the other day with Black?
Tyler Black,
Tyler Black coming up when Sanchez got hurt a little bit, and what an opening day in the major leagues for him. We talked about him during spring training and whether they would bring him up with a big club or what they would do. But boy, I'll tell you, the way he came out the other day in his first ever, he appears like he can play in the bigs.
His
one game doesn't make a career, obviously.
His family had to cut their Cancun vacation short apparently to come up and watch. And his dad used to I don't think he still does, called Timber or Blue Jays games in Canada.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so it was cool because Sophia Minert from the Brewers telecast was talking to him during the game, and he was up to plate, and he called one of the hits, and he's like, "And that's my boy Tyler Black with
Boy, what a thrill!"
I know, right? That's got to be so cool.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't imagine that.
To see that, that's
well,
really
to
cool.
see it and call that, you got that on video for the rest of your life. You can, that's my boy, that a boy, and I hope the kid does have a good career.
Let me see if
with
I can.
The Brewers.
Yeah, with the Brewers. Let me see if I can bring it up here quick before we get to Jake here. See if I can find it.
I bet they didn't have to be talked into a whole lot of decision making. Do we stay in Cancun or do we go watch our son with his major league debut?
I'm just impressed they were able to get there in time for.
Well, that's true. The way the plane systems work. But,
yeah.
But flying into Milwaukee from Cancun, probably not all that difficult, but
no.
It was nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can. It'll play and without any. Okay, so this was audio courtesy from the Brewers here.
And it cut off.
There you go.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great stuff.
Base hit up to right field for my boy Tyler Black. That's really cool. So.
Yeah, it's one thing to say, pop up to second base, but a base hit to right field for my boy.
Yep.
That's the best call I'll bet he'll tell you that's the best call he ever made, even with Toronto winning World Series.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the best call.
So, all right, let's take a quick break here, and we'll get to Jake answering your outdoor questions. Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden. Opener of fishing season coming up this weekend too. Don't forget about that. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Aren't many people as sports smart as he is, so he tries to use tiny words so people like me can easily follow along.
That doesn't make sense.
The Dan Kasper Show. Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your Outdoor Tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
Got the opener of fishing season coming up this weekend. Turkey season also still going on right now, too. So plenty to catch up on with Mr. Jake Boakes, who is joining us here this morning. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Morning.
Morning. Hey, let's lead it off. So we actually had this text came in over the weekend here, so I like the heads up there. So, but this was from a texter. Saw the story regarding the sturgeon that was originally tagged in Jim Falls and was found at 600 miles south in the Mississippi River. Texter was asking, how does a fish that size make it through all those dams and all that sort of stuff? And what should somebody do if they maybe catch or find a tagged fish?
Yeah, pretty cool story, huh? That's a pretty long ways for a fish.
Exactly, right? No kidding.
Yeah, so I talked with the biologist about it. I had some ideas, but the fisheries biologists, they are the experts. So I ran it by them. And, the first thing is, like, if you do find you catch a sturgeon that has a tag in it, as far as reporting, there is information on the tags that explains how to do it. Back in the day, I think they used to have, like, addresses and different things that you could mail info to or call. But in the last 7-8 years, all the fish that have been tagged in the Chippewa Valley around here on the rivers, it is an email address. And I don't know it off the top of my head. It's something like dnrsturgeon.wisconsin. But long story short, if you find a fish with a tag in it, just look at the tag. It'll explain. It'll give you an email address. The main thing that the fisheries department is looking for when you catch one is, like, if you're weighing it and or if you're measuring it, what's the weight, what's the length of it, and then what day did you catch it and where did you catch it? Those are like the kind of like the big factors they want to know about. But you can send an email if you get it. Otherwise, if you reach out to your local fisheries biologist, around here is Joseph Gerbishek. You reach out to them, let them know you got this, or send them the picture of it that you took, or whatever. They love collecting that data. It really helps them out.
So just to kind of expand on that, the reason why these fish are tagged is to collect data and for stuff like this, to see where they travel and all that stuff.
Yeah, yep, 100%. They've been such a protected species for so many years, and not only our state but other states in the country have done such a good job protecting them and boosting their population growth that I don't know if you guys saw, but a couple of months ago, actually it might have been a lot longer than a couple of months ago, but there was a petition filed to put the lake sturgeon, on the endangered species list, which, if that would have happened, obviously that would have greatly affected our sturgeon spearing and fishing opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But because of all the data collection and research and protection that, the states have done and the biologists have done, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service was like, the populations are great. They're growing. They're expanding. There's no reason to put them on it. So it basically helps save our spearing season and stuff like that. So any info really helps manage the population, just like anything else. When you find, if they're asking for deer surveys, or you get that letter in the mail about your trapping season or your hunting season or your deer observations or your duck observations, if you answer those, it helps put more data together to help, protect our resources.
What happens?
So that's like, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, what happens if somebody would hook a sturgeon, like on the Chippewa River, hook a sturgeon this Saturday? You better not bring it in your boat, huh?
Don't bring it in your boat. So, on the Chippewa, we do have like a catch and release season, but that's in September.
Yeah.
When you go fishing, you always unintentionally catch a non-target species, right? You never truly know what's coming out of the water until you get it to the boat. So if you do accidentally catch a sturgeon, what you're supposed to do is just immediately release it. So we use our discretion, and if people want to, like, quickly and safely take the hook out of the mouth, take a picture of the fish and release it, that's fine. But the second you pull that fish away from the shoreline because you need to go get your camera, which is in the truck, or you need to hold on to it so your buddy can come down and see it, now it's in your possession, and now that's a violation. So if you do want to take a picture with it, that's fine. Just unhook it, take a picture, get it right back in the water so there's less stress on the animal.
Boy, that's a fine line of discretion for a warden like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty evident. You know, you can tell like who takes a good picture and releases it, or you know, there are people that will like carry it back to their car for a picture and then release it. And you know, I wouldn't want to be dragged under the water for a while just for a picture from a fish. You know, if you're looking at it hypothetically, you know, it's just like do your best to take a picture, release it. You know, everyone catches them when they're walleye fishing, catfishing, so it happens. Just release it quickly. You won't get in trouble with that.
Right.
But to hit on that second part quick, so on the Mississippi River in like periods of high water, you basically a lot of the time in the spring, the river the water levels are above the gates and different stuff, so fish can move freely up and down the river through these dams and locks and stuff. And then in periods of like low water, the fish can go through the locks, like where the boats go up and down past the dams. So the fish on the Mississippi River have a pretty good, like a system to be able to move up and down through the dam. So they just wait for the right opportunity and they can move as far up and upstream and downstream of the Mississippi as they want.
So what does that say, Jake, about this invasive carp that jumps and will jump in people's boats and everything else with the gates and, I don't know, electrical gates or whatever they've got? Are they being successful in keeping them out of Lake Michigan, keep them down the Illinois River, down that way? What's the latest on that, do you know?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know the latest on it. We have a administrative warden, Lieutenant Bob Strauss, who that's his job. He is our invasive species coordinator. And he's been working a lot with it. I saw that, I think it was last year, he was down there at like those gates that you're talking about. I think they got him, you know, down south of Chicago or Illinois, somewhere in Illinois. And he was there checking it out and working with it. And he would be, you know, I could reach out to him and talk to him about and get some answers for you guys for next week. I don't know the situation with that yet. All I know is I hope they don't make it up here or into the Great Lakes. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey,
we've all seen those videos. You know, you're driving down the river, you get smacked in the face with a carp. You know,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're scary. Those things would be scary to get up this far.
Yep. Hey, Jake, with fishing season and such and invasive species, you know, perhaps, you know, some reminders like, you know, when you're pulling your boat out and washing it off and that sort of stuff, that's all in play for this weekend too.
Yep. Not just this weekend. I mean, it's obviously a good reminder this weekend. You know, anytime you take a boat on the water, when you pull it out, you got to make sure you drain the live well, drain any water in your ballast tanks if you got it. You know, you can't transport any water off any lake. Even if you're moving to a different part of the lake or river, you can't transport any water because you just don't know what's in it. There's a bunch of, you know, microscopic different organisms that could be invasive. So anytime you come out of the water, dump your water, make sure all the weeds are off it, off your trailer, off the hitch, off the boat, inside the boat. We see it a lot with hunters. Is, you know, you're walking through the weeds and collecting decoys and you got weeds all over your stuff. You know, you got to get all that stuff out of the boat. You got to get off trailers. You got to, you know, you can't be transporting that stuff from lake to lake because it is a pretty hefty fine. You know, an invasive species ticket is, you know, starts somewhere in the mid 200s, not 300 for transporting, you know, illegal weeds and water.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And just to kind of wrap it up here, Jake, I know turkey season's still going on from your side of things. Have you been seeing a pretty successful season for a lot of people so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like the show enough today that I delayed going out today just to talk with you guys. had nothing to do with the rain or anything, but definitely just you guys. But I don't know a person yet that hasn't got one or at least had a shot that didn't take it or missed it or something like that.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me now, Jake. You're coming up.
I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself too, because now I gotta, you know, I'm talking big game and I haven't even got out yet. So, but I'd say that in a good way. Like, there's a lot of birds. There's a lot of birds, and they're still decoying from what I'm hearing or responding to calls. And it sounds like it's been a lot of fun so far, for all the hunters out there. And I hope that just keeps continuing through this weekend and this week and through the season.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake, you mentioned big game. That takes me back to, we're into May now, and elk hunters got till the end of May to apply for
Right.
a license to hunt elk in Jackson County as well as up at Clam Lake. What any updates on that as far as how many are going to be available to hunt in either one of those herds?
No updates yet, and maybe I won't. I guess I'm not on the talks about it. I learn about it usually when stuff's about to be finalized or right after it's finalized.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe part of it is just seeing what the how many people apply this year, or maybe they're just waiting to release the information till the actual period is closed and stuff like that, the application period.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just they're still working on it. It's brand new. There's a lot to go through. There's a lot of different departments and entities that have to work collaboratively on it. So sometimes it just takes a little bit to get through some stuff. But yeah, no updates yet. I promise you, you'll be the first to know.
Okay. Is there any rule or regulation of how you hunt them? If you get a license, can you hunt them with a bow and arrow? Can you hunt them with a shotgun and slugs? Do you have to use a rifle? What do we know? Or what? I'm not a elk hunter, so I don't know what the regulations have been in the past.
Yeah, and to be honest, because the only hunting season has been that Clam Lake herd, it's just nowhere that's ever been on my team or anywhere I've patrolled, so I'm not 100% familiar with them. But I do know that I think you had the opportunity to utilize whatever equipment you wanted that was legal. Rifle, shotgun. I assume shotgun, slug. You're not going to go out with some bird shot and take down an elk. And a bow and arrow. I think those were all available options. I think most people have.
Including these crossbows?
Yeah, they're considered archery equipment, so I would assume so. But
okay.
I haven't dug into it. I guess I'm kind of being presumptive here, but I would think that that'll be something I can definitely look at when I find out what the numbers are going to be and stuff. When we share back, well, there should be, when they release that, they should release the regulations and different stuff like that.
Cool. All right, good stuff. Are you going to be busy this weekend patrolling the waters, Jake?
Oh yeah, I'll be out starting Friday night checking stuff. There's a lot of places around the area that right at midnight there's people stacked up waiting to fish. So and there's some places that you can't fish. There's some refuges that are still closed till midnight, including like the Altoona Dam here in town. So you can't get out there Friday, even though the river's open. The refuge is still in effect until midnight. So Saturday morning. So people can't be fishing there yet. So there's a lot of places where I'll be out Friday, Saturday, Sunday working. So.
All right. Well, you be safe out
Hopefully
there.
nice weather.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, you be safe
I
out
don't
there,
want to be
buddy.
standing in the rain. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, thanks for stopping in, and best of luck turkey hunting too there, buddy. Let us know if you get anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, you as well. I'm expecting to see some pics from you.
Oh, geez. Now you're putting the pressure on.
All the pressure today.
I know, right? So,
yeah, thanks for having me again, guys. It's always fun.
All
you
right,
got
thanks,
it.
Jake.
Appreciate it, Jake. There you go. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the state of Wisconsin for our outdoor tidbits. Take a break. We'll wrap things up with some picks and predicts. We got some people saying we better pick Indiana, then that'll help the Bucks win tonight. So we'll see what we go. We'll see what we do coming up after these few words. You hitting the road a lot lately, or maybe you're getting ready to? You better make sure your vehicle is ready to put on all those miles, which means it's a good idea to get some new tires and get an oil change to help your vehicle perform at its best this traveling season. Where to go, though? That's simple. ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Not only does ASAP Used Auto Parts have high quality used auto parts to help your budget, but they are also your go to place when it comes to oil changes and new tires. So make sure your vehicle is ready to hit the road for another traveling season. Set up your appointment with ASAP Used Auto Parts today and have a safe and memorable traveling season. All right, let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire, located right next to Banbury Place. Maybe you want to check out the race on Saturday or some of the ball games and such. Head on over to the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Enjoy a nice, cool man cave light over there. We got some NBA playoff games to pick up. We might as well start it off. Bucks, Pacers, game 6. Haven't seen any updates on the injury report right now, but yesterday it was listed still as Giannis and Dame as doubtful. So I'm going to operate under the assumption they're not playing tonight.
I
So
think you have to.
yeah,
I think because they're at home, those two guys aren't playing. Indiana is the host team. I don't think they'll. That was a clunker for them. Although I give the Bucks credit for making it be a clunker for them. But I don't know if the Bucks have it in them to do it 2 in a row, especially on Indiana's home floor. I got to pick the Pacers.
I'm going to pick
I'll be
the
rooting
Pacers
for
too.
the Bucks, but have to pick the Pacers.
I'm going to pick Pacers too. If the Bucks do win tonight, do they win Game 7 tomorrow?
That's going to be, and again, without Dame and without Giannis, older legs compared to the younger legs of Indianapolis. I mean, this would be if they could pull off this daily double, that would be, I can't imagine what the odds would be for the Bucks to be winning 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
It
5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, it would be big odds.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'd like to be talking about it tomorrow.
Oh, it would be fun.
We got Knicks at Philly. Knicks leading the series 3-2. Does Philly tie it up, or do the Knicks move on? It's at Philly.
I think Philly ties it up because it's Brunson. He kind of leaked down his leg at the end of that game, and so did a couple other guys. I mean, missing free throws. I mean, the one guy, Hurt, I think was his name. He didn't miss free throw. He choked on a couple of free throws. I mean, he barely hit the front of the rim.
Josh Hart, maybe?
Hart, yeah. That's the guy, Hart. And he barely hit the front of the rim. I don't know if New York is up to this. We'll find out the intestinal fortitude of Jalen Brunson. But he had a great game except for about the last 3 minutes. And he had some turnovers that were inexcusable. And being in Philadelphia, granted, he played at Villanova. They love him in Philadelphia, but not as a member of the Knicks. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia, tie this thing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go Philly too. I'm going to go with the 76ers. So that one will at least go 7 games.
Yeah, because I think Embiid is going to be Embiid. Maxey is playing. Tobias Harris hasn't really stood out yet, and I think he's got a big game in him somewhere down the line. Maybe it's tonight, but I think Philadelphia's going to win it.
Let's do not a ton of baseball games on the schedule today, but got a couple of them here. How about the Yankees at the Baltimore Orioles?
That was a good game last night. I was watching part of it. Corbin Burns was pitching. I don't know who ended up winning.
Yankees won 2-0.
Okay, I know they were behind, and Burns
Corbin got the loss.
Yeah, he got hurt early, but I'm going to go with the Yankees. I know Baltimore's got some good young players, but I'm going with the Yankees, in spite of the fact that they're in Baltimore, I do believe.
Yep, it's in Baltimore. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the...
You ever been in that stadium? That's a neat stadium.
No.
Yeah, that's a neat stadium.
Let's go with the Mets taking on the Chicago Cubbies. Chicago taking on the Mets in New York. Adrian Hauser, former Brewer, getting a start for the Mets.
The Mets are playing a lot better than when they started the season. Of course, it didn't take a whole lot better to play better than the Mets or better than the White Sox, but I think they've turned it around.
I might go Cubs. With this one.
Okay.
And setting up for...
Where are they playing? In Chicago?
No, in New York.
I'm taking the Mets.
Look at that. You know what? David Stearns leaves. Craig Counsell leaves. Brewers are in first place. Obviously, Stearns and Counsell were holding the Brewers back. I'm just kidding. So, Don't yell at me too much, people. Let's go Cleveland at Houston.
Houston. Houston's not been playing all that well this year, but sooner or later they're going to break loose and win 12 out of 15 or something like that. So I'm taking Houston.
I'm going to take Houston tonight too. So, all right, that's your picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room.
You know, we talk about these things, and I just had an idea.
Oh gosh.
No, seriously, for you to put together one of those tours to go to a whole bunch of different ballparks, follow the schedule, and go to, like, in 7 or 8 days, go to 5 or 6 ballparks and watch games and do that. That would be a lot of fun. You could do your show from the road. You know, you got guys with you that could come in and be on the air with you. You got to put that together, because I know there'd be a lot of people that go with you.
Like a bus trip sort of thing?
Oh yeah, a bus trip. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be more fun than going to spring training.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see real meaningful baseball.
You know, for everybody who knocks me on preseason football, spring training is the same thing. I'm just saying.
Oh, it is.
I'm just saying.
Well, you go to a spring training game. You've been to spring training games, haven't you?
Dude, the farthest west I've been is Minnesota or Iowa, okay?
Well, you go to those spring training, well, even in Florida, Arizona, where they're at, you know, they're playing the games, but, you know, half the time there are 6 or 8 players walking around the warning track along the outfield wall while the game is going on, or guys playing catch out there, things like that. I mean, it's really, really relaxed. And so, you know, what are you getting out of it? Out seeing these guys, and maybe you can get an autograph because of that. But I think to go actually see baseball, I think you should put together a trip and go east or west. It'd be easier to go east. Obviously, there are more teams, you know, congested in Chicago, and go to Detroit and go to Cleveland or Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, you know, Washington, you know. And again, it's not that far. People think, oh, all the way out to Washington. Again, I'll bring up, and I pointed this out before, going east is a whole lot better than shorter than going west. The same distance across the state of Montana, just that one state to go across Montana, is the same distance as going from Chicago to Washington, D.C.
That's mind-boggling to me.
It's the same distance. So you could cover a lot of ballparks in, you know, 7 or 8 days, follow the schedule, and, you know, do a couple, you know.
Maybe a quick pit stop at Canton.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Canton, Ohio, you bet. Or go to New York and go to Cooperstown. I'm taking a vacation later this summer. I plan to drive out east, and I've never been to Cooperstown, and I'm going to go.
I'll tell you what, you go talk to the boss right after, see what they say.
Well, I don't think it'd take much to sell them on.
Well,
that.
I mean, you're Bob. Well, they listen to you more than they listen to me over here.
I think it would be a great benefit for you, the program, the listeners.
Be like the Madden Cruiser, be the Sports Talk Cruiser.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. And put a picture of a badger on the side so they know you're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And, you know, this year you go east. Next year you go south. Next year you go southwest. Next year you go, you know, you could go different places every year. The annual, not a spring training trip, but a baseball trip. And, you know, you can go to Canton and Cooperstown, and, you know, through Kansas City, the Negro Leagues Hall of Fame. That I've been there. That's a wonderful museum. Then, you know, the Kansas City's baseball field is down the road. So, you know, there are a lot of fun things you could do. And
Arrowhead for the time being.
What's that?
Arrowhead for the time being.
Yeah. But still in all, you know, but I
don't know if I can be with G-Man for 7 days in a row, though, or whatever long that is.
Well, you got to have somebody to carry your bag.
You need somebody to carry G-Man.
Well, after about the 7th
inning. Oh, all right. You put the word in. We'll see what the bosses say.
Yeah, I think
you're the idea man.
Well,
I'm just the talent.
Well, that's it.
Oh, that's worded loosely, by the way.
So, but I mean, it's I just think it would be a good promotion, for lack of a better term. But you know, I just think that'd be a good idea.
Our buddy Mark just said he'd go. So there you go.
There you go. You got people on the bus.
Yep. All right. So again, who are you picking for Kentucky Derby?
I'm going to go with fierceness.
Fierceness,
That's
okay.
quite a combination with John Velazquez and Todd Pletcher, and he's fast. He won the Florida Derby by 13 lengths here about a month ago right at the end of March. I think he's coming in fresh, and all things being equal, I think he's going to be the one.
All right. Put your money down, people, just based off what intern said.
Watch him finish 12th.
Yeah, right. Then you'll get some emails.
Yeah, oh, God.
All right, that's going to do it for us. DP and the Danettes, they're up next. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. We'll finish everything up for this week tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.